time for Huntingdon Bearcat football on the Air Network and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon. Tonight's game is presented by Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223, the heart of the community, and by D.C. Goodman & Sons and the Goodman family. Tonight's game also brought to you by Simone Family Chiropractic at 613 Washington Street in downtown Huntingdon, by Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing of Huntingdon, and by All American Pizza and Subs in downtown Huntingdon. And now, with all the action of tonight's Bearcat football game, here's Statman Chad States and Dave Shannon live on the Air Network and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon.
And welcome to War Memorial Field in Warren, Pennsylvania, where the Huntingdon Bearcats are getting ready to take on the Warren Dragons. We're haunted by dragons once again. And I'm Dave Shannon. That guy over there is Chad States, getting ready to bring you tonight's action. Big activities going on here, senior night, players, band members, cheerleaders, anyone that's involved with the fall athletic programs being recognized here tonight. And we don't blame them. It's always a good thing.
Always a good thing. Yep. Good to see the seniors out here being escorted in by their parents, and just, you don't truly realize how special and how short a time it is in high school until it's all gone, Dave. Yeah,
that's for sure. You turn around one day and it's like, oop,
yep.
Where'd that go?
Where'd that go?
All right. 8-1. The Bearcats are coming into tonight's game. The loss last week at 14-10 to the Central Scarlet Dragons in a game that caught the attention of the coaching staff, the players, and everyone else. And Coach Hootie and I talk about that a little bit. And the one thing that I said last week, which I also said to him, I said, hey, it's tough to go undefeated. And if you're going to lose a game, better to lose it in the regular season than lose it in a one-and-done playoff system. And, of course, you'll hear his response coming up. But and we talked about that. Another thing we talked about last week caused the offense to do a number of different things. And although the Wildcat may have popped up a couple of times in the regular season prior to last week's game, it really became an integral part and something that kind of saved the offense a little bit there, as you had the direct snap to Border, and then between he and Drew Weglars, they were able to gain some yardage. So that was a big part of last week's game.
Yeah, it was, and they started out, and we told you guys earlier whenever you were listening that, hey, that's what they had to do in the second half. They had to come down the field and score. To get back into that ball game and to kind of flex their muscles offensively, because Central was dominating them on the defensive side of the ball. They completely took away Jonathan Price. Jonathan had 2 catches for 13 yards, way under his averages. And Huntington came out, and with their change of pace back, Drew Weglars, bing, 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 Dave, right down the field and scored a touchdown. And then they kind of went away from that and back to their more traditional offense. And Central kind of capitalized on that and got a late score and held on for the 14-10 victory.
Although it was kind of interesting, Chad, to see Central mimic Huntingdon by also going to the Wildcat offense themselves, and it provided some success with them. But I thought our defense played a really good game. And as I say to Coach Hootie in the pregame show, in my mind, to a degree, yeah, okay, we lost the game and we're 8-1. But in my mind, we won the game 10-7.
Right, and there's some silver linings there when you look at it. One, yes, we gave up. Our defense played great. They gave up 3 big plays for 127 yards, all 3 of those combined. So chunk play, so to speak, Dave, is what they got. And one of those was at the end of the first half that didn't really count. So when you look back on it, the offensive totals kind of looked obscured. Central limited Huntington to 133 yards. Central had 333 of their own. But if you take away those 3 big plays, we're looking at a very, very even ball game. When I say there was a silver lining, always a loss hurts. You never, ever want to lose a football game. But what that did was it moved Central from the 4 spot in the district seedings up to the 3 spot. That will put them against Forest Hills. If Huntington wins here tonight, they will hold on to the top seed in the District 6 playoffs. That will put Forest Hills and Central on the other side of the bracket, and they will have to meet in a semifinal in Sidman in 2 weeks. Considering, if Central takes care of business in their first week, and I'm assuming that they will, That's huge for Huntington, that they're going to get those two on the other side of the bracket and have a cleaner run to the District 6 title than what they would have had they have beaten Central, because they probably would have seen the Scarlet Dragons at home in 2 weeks as well. So there could have been a little bit of a silver lining there. You hate to say that in a loss, but it could have happened.
Well, there are a number of things, and we'll discuss that with the coach coming up as well. And by the way, Melissa Schneider, you had asked Greg Banks if we would be here. Here we are. And we're glad you're following us here on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon. I do believe that Melissa is listening via the airnetwork.net, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa.
And we'll probably recognize her one more time during the course of tonight's broadcast. But something we do want to recognize as well, defense for the Bearcats, a big part of this team, and they continue to really play extremely good football as they were able to hold a team that scored 32 points per game normally to just 14. And as I say, in the back of my mind, I still got it at 7. But, bottom line is heck of a defensive showing by the Bearcats a week ago.
Absolutely, Dave. I mean, when you look at the defensive stats that this team has thrown up, and I'm going to pay kudos because the guy who's sitting right next to me is the single-season holds the single-season tackle record, Charlie Reed. So good to see my former classmate up here with me tonight. But anyway, when we get to talking about defense, Huntington's plus 11 in the turnover ratio, which is a fantastic stat. And as we pointed out last week, they still have not allowed a point in the third quarter, and that's huge coming out in the second half, keeping your opponent held down like that. And I expect similar results tonight, Dave, as Huntington faces a 2-7 Warren team who's basically struggled all year long.
Well, they've got that third quarter shutout going on for the entire season. They've also only allowed 13.3 points per game against them. So you add that in, that's formula for success. We hope we can count on that here tonight. Warren coming into the game, looking to try to end up on a winning note. As we said, they're 2-7 coming into the game. They did defeat Franklin 44-34 in the third game of the season, and 3 weeks ago defeated Titusville 42-18. Now, the Dragons have a pair of 1,000-yard achievers for the year. Quarterback Jake Kupchella has thrown for 1,000 yards. Noah Myers has rushed for 1,259. And that's some pretty good stuff for these Warren Dragons.
Yeah, and when we were out here watching Kupchella warm up, Dave, he's got a fantastic arm. Big kid, 6'3", 220 pounds. So he has the look of being a very menacing quarterback out here this evening. Myers checks in at 6 foot, 195 pounds. He's a shifty back. When I saw him on video, he's not the type of kid that's going to create his own space. But when he gets space, he takes complete advantage of it. And I think the Huntington defense will be taxed in seeing that tonight.
All right. That's what we have headed your way. It's the Warren Dragons and the Huntingdon Bearcats from War Memorial Field in Warren. More of the game coming up. We'll talk to Coach Hootie next, right here on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon.
Call Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing for affordable heating, plumbing, and drain cleaning services in Huntingdon. Count on 12 years of ensured excellent service when it comes to heating, plumbing, ventilation, and drain cleaning. Call Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing, available evenings and weekends at an affordable rate. Call 814-506-5128. That's 506-5128 for Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing in Huntingdon. The Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223 is the heart of the community with loads of activities all year round. The Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223 proudly sponsors social events for members and their guests, plus you can enjoy their Friday food specials beginning at 5 p.m. every Friday. Saturday entertainment, plus check our website for other exciting upcoming events all year round. There's always something happening at the Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223, the heart of the community. Join us today.
Sometimes facts are hard to face. Statistics show that obesity is a problem in the United States, and it's not getting any better. At Simone Family Chiropractic, we understand this problem. We also know that obesity leads to very serious health problems later in life. There is a way to cleanse your body and get back to optimum health. It is called the Doctor-Supervised ChiroThin System, and it teaches you how and what to eat in the real world. Call us at Simone Family Chiropractic at 814-643-2616, or stop in and see us at 613 Washington Street in Huntingdon, across from All American Pizza, or find us on Facebook.
I'm Jarris Warner. I'm listening to the Bearcats on the airnetwork.net.
As we do every week, it is time once again to chat with the head coach of the Huntingdon Bearcats, That, of course, is Mike Hootie as we get set to take on the Central Scarlet Dragons. And first of all, we always like to take a look back at the week before. Quite an offensive output last week against Phillipsburg.
Yes, sir. We just.
And sorry about that, folks. We are going to get you this week's interview with Coach Hootie. That is here, and it is right now. Here we are getting ready for another exciting night of high school football on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon. The Huntingdon Bearcats are in Warren, PA. Yep, I can smell the refinery from here. But Coach Hootie has brought the boys here for their final regular season contest. And, Coach, we always take a quick look back at the previous week's game. And I'm sure you were able to learn a lot about your team last week in that loss to Central.
Yeah, it's tough to go undefeated. And what I think, you lose one, you bounce back right away. We'll see how we do. It happens every weekend. So.
One thing I mentioned in the broadcast last week was better to lose a game in the regular season than to be in a one-and-done playoff and lose one there.
Exactly. If there was something we had to, there's some things we had to take care of and address, and a lot of them were mental and psychological, and, we can address them now. So.
Okay, one of the things that you pulled out was Wildcat, a good dose of the Wildcat, and it paid off for you as you were able to score some points using the Wildcat. We really hadn't seen that. You may have used that a couple of plays during the regular season, but you stuck with it for a while there against Central.
Yeah, we practice it. Of course, we haven't had to use it, and we're going to probably expand on it. So.
Yeah, definitely paid dividends. One thing, once again, and I seem to say this week after week, you had to be proud of your defense. Quite frankly, you won the game 10-7 with the notable exception of a trick play that they threw a halfback pass on and ended up scoring. But your defense held them to as far as I'm concerned, to a degree, a 10-7 win for Huntingdon.
Exactly. These guys have trick plays too, so we'll see if we learned anything. We talked about all week again. So these guys, they have to translate that to the field. So.
Is there anything that you can look for that a team may be doing that kind of tips their hand that they're going to be trying something like that?
Well, a number out of place, or a particular formation, or a formation you've never seen before. Mm-hmm. Usually keys that. Maybe a different kicker, different punter. That type of stuff. And we have to recognize it, and it happens so quickly, that, I know Coach Mike was shouting, hey, number 3's in the slot, and it's loud, and your players hear that, and it's happened so quickly. Hi, this is Coach Hootie. The Huntingdon Bearcats were on the airnetwork.net.
And obviously, 7 o'clock is a different time in every different part of the state. It was a win of the coin toss by the Bearcats. They deferred to the second half, and Warren receiving to start the football game. And a return out just over the 20-yard line. They'll mark them down at the 21, and that's where Warren will begin 1st and 10. So the big question tonight is, how does this team rebound after that loss to Central last week? Yep. And we're about to find out.
A nice special teams coverage that time by Jacob Wagner and Derek Foltz making the tackle. So 1st and 10 for Warren at their own 21. And it's nice to have hash marks, Dave, because we can officially see that's the 21-yard line.
Yes. We don't have to speculate so much like we normally do. Handoff goes to, looks like
it's Myers.
Yep. Noah Myers, and Myers, the ball carrier, ends up losing a couple of yards back to the 19-yard line. It will be 2nd down and 12 for the Dragons.
Another tackle for loss by this Bearcat defense. They have well over 50 for the season. You lose 2 on that carry. Myers is the big back for the Dragons here. He has over 1,200 yards rushing. He is a fast, elusive running back whenever he can find space. It's being able to find space against the Bearcat defense that's difficult.
Quarterback is Jake Kupchella. He is up under center. Turns and the pitch to Myers. And he hesitates a little bit and then turns it upfield. He'll get back to the 20-yard line, maybe back to the original line of scrimmage to set up a 3rd down and 10.
And you can see by the way he's running, he's looking for that hole. He's not going to be the type of back that's going to create it himself. And he's going to get back to the original line of scrimmage or back to the 21. He can't create it himself. He's going to have to find it. And Huntington's not going to give him the opportunity to find it.
Kind of like a Le'Veon Bell type of runner when you start to consider it that way. And so it brings up a 3rd down and 10, as he may have been waiting for an opening, but he never really got one there. Now in the shotgun, it's Jake Kupchella. And Huntingdon ends up going offside. Ian Border looked like he went off, but was he drawn offside?
Ian was clapping.
By number 72, Justin Eck of the Warren Dragons. Warren's walking backward because it is against the Dragons. So the penalty called against them, a 5-yard loss, and it has not been a good opening offensive series for the Dragons.
No, and this is a young team. This is a team it's a combined school. I think them and Youngsville or something like that is the other name of the school that they're combined with, and a very young football team. But I will say the quarterback, Kupchella, is impressive. We saw him down here in warm-ups, and he was throwing some nice balls to his receivers. Big kid, 6'3", 220 pounds, and this is a passing down here, so we're going to see that arm in action right now.
My roster had him at 6'3", $180.
All right.
But that's just me. And a whistle blows as the play starts. And it is a timeout by the Warren Dragons. And that gives us time to tell you about the Pitt Panthers here on the airnetwork.net tomorrow. Virginia, the Cavaliers, headed to Heinz Field. And they play at noon, and we'll have a rebroadcast of this Huntingdon Bearcats football game right before the kickoff between Pitt and Virginia. Once again, that is tomorrow at noon. And don't forget about Monday Night Sports Talk Live, Monday night, 7 to 8 on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM. Call in, and we'll talk sports with you. Chad is feverishly punching his phone tapping his phone screen, trying to come up with some scores if there may be anything out there. 10:05 left to go in this game, so not much time has come off the clock so far.
Putting up here just to do a quick refresh to see if anybody scored right off the bat. There's a lot of important games going on here in Week 10 for district seeding, and we want to make sure that we're keeping you up to speed with those scores along with the one here tonight.
Kupchella still in that shotgun. There's the snap. He rolls to his right. Looks downfield. No one's really open. He ends up throwing it out of bounds, intended for Marvin Bryant, who was probably, 3 yards out of bounds when he threw it to him. So, once again, that Huntingdon defense doing what they've done all season long. It's a 3 and out. Or if you want to add in the penalty, it's a 4 and out. Well,
and Kupchella being chased by defensive end Ben Briggs that time, all the way back, having to throw that ball from about the 1 yard line out of bounds. So a good defensive effort that time by the Bearcats to shut down that 3rd down attempt and force Warren to punt.
So it is a punt for Warren, and their punter stands back at the 3 yard line, and it's blocked. It's going to roll around the 5, out to about the 7, and it goes out of bounds. What a break for the Huntingdon Bearcats. Good work, too, might add. Seth Harrington, the punter, has his punt blocked. I did not get who blocked that.
No, it's hard to see. There were 3 or 4 guys in there, so it's hard to see on whose hand got in there to get it. But regardless, that's the 4th block kick for Huntingdon this year. Very impressive.
And that sets them up with red zone penetration right off the bat, 1st and goal, and they marked it out of bounds at the 6 yard line. So the Bearcats only have 6 yards to go to get their first points of tonight's football game. Andrew Hootie is in the shotgun. Man in motion, and the handoff, jet sweep. Jonathan Price tries to turn the corner. It's clogged up, then retreats and ends up being dropped for a loss. Nice penetration and pursuit by the Dragon defense, and Cole Nossel was the guy that was one of the guys back there.
Yeah, Price took that handoff. David just kept coming to the left, and there was no opening for him to be able to turn that ball upfield. So a nice defensive play that time by Warren, and a 4 yard loss to put Huntington back on the 10 yard line.
Well, at this point in the season, there's enough video out there that just about anybody's going to know what you do and what your tendencies are, and the Bearcats trying to spread out that defense didn't work. Handoff to Ian Border. Inside, up the middle, over the right tackle, and Border gets back to the original line of scrimmage, the 6-yard line, so it'll be third down and goal for the Bearcats from the 6, I'm going to call it the 6, of the Warren Dragons. We're in the first quarter of tonight's game, 8:51 left to go, and no score in tonight's game between the Dragons and the Bearcats.
Ball is at the 7-yard line.
If you've ever been in a town that has a refinery, you'll know the smell. We don't have smell-o-vision or smell-o-radio or smell-o-stream, but I can tell you that's what it smells like. Handoff to Border, tries it up the middle again. He gets stacked up at the 5-yard line, so he only picks up one, and the Bearcats being blessed with outstanding field position on their first possession. Thus far, unable to get in the end zone. 4th and goal from the 5-yard line.
And it looks like,
and they're going to go for it.
Yeah, I've seen Andrew Finkel running here, so it looks like probably an I formation type of situation here, Dave, on 4th down.
Finkel, and it looked like Briggs also came in from the sideline.
So 2 tight ends and a fullback is telling me I formation, and that's exactly what they're lining up in.
That's what we got. This has proved successful for the Bearcats several times this year. Hootie up under center, the pitch back to Border, and out there is Finkel blocking for him. Turns, goes into the end zone. Touchdown. Bearcats take the lead, 6-0.
Yep, and that's we've seen that formula work time and time again this year, Dave, is the lead back is able to go ahead and take out the linebacker. It's going to come in and pursue that running back. 2 tight ends, neutralizes a couple of the defenders, and all Ian Border really has to do is square his shoulders, and he's going to get 5 yards, and that's exactly what happened that time.
Border into the end zone for the Bearcats touchdown, and that means Gio Scotcha is out to attempt the point after. And that, of course, will be out of the hold from Jarris Warner. Snaps back. Scotch's kick is up. Line drive, and it just sneaks inside the left upright for the point after, and it makes the score Bearcats 7 and the Warren Dragons nothing. You're listening to the Huntingdon Bearcats on the airnetwork.net, and you can help us defray costs in the PIAA playoff games that are coming up. How can you do that? You can make a small contribution. Send whatever you can to Greg Banks, P.O. Box 56, Huntingdon, PA 16652. All contributions from alums, groups, or organizations will be acknowledged during the broadcasts. So what looked like it might be a little bit of trouble there, Chad, is, you get blessed with taking the ball over at the other team's 6-yard line, and everything seemed to be stalling, but the Bearcats dialed up exactly what they needed with that I formation again to get Ian Border into the end zone.
And that's been a tough package for any opponent to deal with all season long, Dave, and we've seen that when Huntington gets into that I formation, again, you're just going to add an extra blocker in there for Ian Border with Finkel stepping in at the fullback position, and that's a tough assignment for anybody to deal with. And that time, they were able to convert the 4th down for the touchdown and take this 7-0 lead here in the first quarter.
7:46 remaining in this first quarter. And Gio Scotcha has it teed up at the 40-yard line.
Again, with the win tonight, Huntington will secure the top seed in the District 6 playoffs.
This one is taken by Nosel at the 10-yard line, out over the 20, 25, 30. Slips another tackle there and is eventually brought down at about the 39-yard line. Touchdown saving tackle by Drew Weglars. Maybe I shouldn't go quite that far, but Drew definitely stopped him from getting out to midfield at least.
It was Drew in the front, and then Jacob Wagner in the hot pursuit in the back that made that happen, as Wagner was able to climb up his back and bring him down, and then Weglars took the legs right out from underneath him. But definitely a big gain that time for Warren to be able to set up great field position at their own 39.
Yeah, that is a 29-yard return.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff.
For the Warren Dragons. Their second possession of the night, and a delayed handoff, and this one goes to Marvin Bryant, I believe.
Yep.
And Bryant gets out over the 40 to about the 44-yard line, so it'll be gain of 5 and a 2nd and 5 for Warren.
Yeah, and a nice play call that time by Warren as the delayed handoff kind of lets the pursuit of the defense kind of come in and be absorbed by the offensive line, and he's able to scoot through for 5 yards. So good play call that time by the Dragons.
Work for Bryant at 5'9", $178. We'll see if they try similar type plays with Myers in there at running back. Staying in the game, though, is Marvin Bryant, and he has Myers beside him. And the handoff goes to, nope, it's a late pitch to Bryant. 50, 45, 40, 30, 20, 15. Touchdown, Warren. That shifty guy that Chad States had talked about, Noah Myers. And a shifty play, well disguised by quarterback Jake Capcella as he delayed that pitch and eventually got it to Noah Myers, who scampered down the sideline, the near sideline, into the end zone for a touchdown.
Well, I did say, Dave, he can't create space on his own. It has to be there, and it was there as they faked the handoff going outside. A great pitch that time by Capcella to Myers. He had this whole outside to the near sideline here and just raced and pulled away from the Bearcat defense. This kid has some serious speed. You don't get 1,200 yards rushing and not have speed.
Seth Harrington, after having a blocked punt, is going to come in and attempt the point after here. 6:50 left to go, 7-6, and the point after is blocked.
Like Price was able to get his hand in on that.
Harrington just kind of throws his arms up in the air as to what do I need to do to get a kick away at this point, as he's had two blocked, as the Bearcats maintain the lead only by a point now, but still ahead 7-6 with 6:50 left to go in the first quarter. Thanks to our Bearcat broadcast boosters, Huntingdon Moose Family Center, 223, DC Goodman and Sons and the Goodman family, Simone Chiropractic and Weight Loss, Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing, and All American Pizza and Subs, where Chad States has quart jars of Mactown Gold at his house.
Shh. I don't want to be robbed in the middle of the night.
So, nice drive there. Good return. It got off to a good start on a nice return by Nosel, and as he had a 29-yard return, and then they just kind of picked up from there. So the Bearcats tested early, and they end up giving up the big gainer for a touchdown, as that one went 56 yards.
56 yards on that run. And again, Myers, when he's in space, he's going to make something happen. You have to limit the space that kid can get into. And we saw exactly why, Dave, is he pulled away for the entire Bearcat defense down the near sideline.
First kickoff of the night for the Warren Dragons, and kicking away to either Price or Wagner, neither one of which you want to kick to.
Nope.
This may be the old worm burner down the middle of the field. Some good hands, guys, if you will, for the Bearcats right around their own 40-yard line. Harrington approaches, and he does beat it into the ground. Coming up to field it is Jonathan Price. Price gets out over the 30, makes a cut toward the near sideline. 40, 45, knocked out of bounds at about the 47-yard line. That was actually Jacob Wagner with the return for the Bearcats, and a great piece of field position again for the Bearcats at their own 47.
It's a 30-yard kick return that time by Wagner, and he's just as dangerous. He's got a kickoff return for a touchdown that we saw happen in the Bellefonte game. So good job that time by Jacob Wagner to give the Huntington offense great field position here.
And never easy to field either, Chad. When you got one of those worm burner ground balls, you never know when they're going to short hop or take a high hop, whatever.
This field's got some bumps in it, too. So
Hootie is in trouble. He gets flushed out of the pocket, now turns it into positive yardage. Down at the 40, the 35, knocked out of bounds at about the 32-yard line of Warren. And he took a play that was going to be a loss of a yard or two and turned it into a big gain down to the 32 of the Dragons. 1st and 10 Bearcats.
That's a 21-yard run that time by the quarterback, Hootie.
Looked like it was the fake handoff to Border. And then when he pulled the ball down, Andrew had absolutely nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. But eventually he was able to find that opening and came over to the near side of the field with that big gain. Handoff goes to Border. Border gets down to about the 31-yard line. It'll be a gain of 1 and a 2nd down and 9 for the Bearcats.
And you can see he's hitting that hole tentatively, Dave. That's not the same running back we saw in the first couple weeks of the season. He's just a little bit cautious, I think, with that ankle still. And you can see it in those runs. That's usually a 4 or 5 yard run for Ian Border, and it only translated into a 1 yard run here.
Steve Jackson, also known as Mr. Moose. Well, it wouldn't be Mr. Moose because then there'd be ping pong balls falling out of the ceiling. It's an old Captain Kangaroo reference, sorry. Here's the snap. Hootie picks it up off the ground and has to roll to his right, lets it go and completes it. Nice effort by Andrew Hootie as he was running hard to the far side of the field and is able to complete it to Ben Briggs.
Yeah, good usage of the tight end that time. Good elusiveness for Hootie, too, as he's able to find his tight end for a nice pickup all the way down to the 24-yard line. About 8 yards.
The reason I mentioned Steve Jackson and Jeff Speck are listening to tonight's game on the Air Network. We appreciate those guys for tuning in. Hopefully Melissa Schneider is there as well. Melissa asking if we were going to have a game. Of course we are. We are your Bearcat station. Andrew Hootie with a completion to Wagner. Wagner gets down over the 15-yard line, and they'll mark him down, I guess at about the 14, I think. And he almost got down to about the 13. We'll mark him down at the 14, and it is good for a Bearcat first down.
Nice 10-yard pickup that time as Wagner came out and just sat right behind the linebackers, and Andrew was able to go ahead and find him. And then the shiftiness with Wagner, he's able to pick up a few more yards and get the first down here. And another red zone opportunity for the Bearcats.
Chad State's word of the day, shifty.
Shifty. I've been called that a time or two.
Andrew Hootie in the shotgun. Man in motion is Price. The handoff goes to Border. Border over the left tackle. Picks up a couple as he gets down to maybe about the 11. We'll see exactly where they mark it. It looks like maybe the 12, so it's going to be a gain of 2 and a second down and 8. Bearcats with their second possession of the night. The last drive started from the 6 of Warren and led to a Bearcat touchdown. 4:26 left to go first quarter, and the Bearcats lead the game by a score of 7-6.
And I think the fans can probably hear in my microphone. That's the breeze picking up here.
Yeah,
in
it
Warren.
definitely came up in a hurry.
It is blowing from the refinery area into us, so we're getting a real good whiff of what that refinery is like.
Jacob Wagner, man in motion, snap to Hootie, rolls to his right, looks downfield toward the end zone. Nobody open at the moment, but what a great job in the end zone to get open and catch another touchdown pass for the Huntingdon Bearcats is Andrew Miller.
Yeah, and it was a good job of the wide receiver working back to his quarterback, Dave, because initially he wasn't open.
The other thing was he deked the defensive guy, and that gave him that opening to be wide open. And Andrew Hootie doesn't miss a whole bunch of those wide open receivers. We found that out over the course of the season.
It's Andrew's 13th touchdown on the year.
Gio Scacci in to attempt the point after out of the hold by Jarris Warner. Kick is up, and that's good. And it makes it Bearcats 14 and the Warren Dragons 6 with 4:02 left to go in the first quarter. Once again, tomorrow here on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon, Virginia Cavaliers, Pitt Panther football, airtime at noon, and we'll have a rebroadcast of this game right before that on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM. Also, Monday night sports talk. Don't forget about that. 7 to 8 Monday night. Join Greg Banks and me. And, you know, we have to beg states to show up for those shows.
Yeah, well, I think the begging's pretty much done. I should be done with Halloween parades and soccer banquets and trick-or-treat night and all that other stuff that you have to do because, Dave, family first.
There you
know
go.
that. And that's, you know, not that you guys aren't my sports family, but you only raise kids once, and you have to be there at all their other events. So I will be back to talk about stuff.
Kidding.
Oh, I know, and it's just.
Jimmy Ty, we have no excuse for him.
It is fun. It was fun having a date with Wonder Woman through the streets of Smithfield as she got way too much candy, and I'm sure she's out there listening with her mom at home, probably eating some of that candy. Please save Daddy some, especially the Whoppers.
A Whopper fan.
Oh, I got a weakness there. It's bad.
Scotcha to kick off. Up to the ball. And he hits one that's kind of a pop-up, fielded at the 20, out over the 30, and up to about the 37, maybe the 38-yard line, as Noah Myers, the star running back, one of the up guys for a kickoff formation for Warren, ends up fielding it and getting it out to the 39-yard line, so it's about a 19-yard return.
Yeah, and you know, we saw. I think he kicked away from the returner that time as he put it into put it down on the ground, like you said. You know, more of that line drive type of kickoff. But he can't boot it. Gio has the ability to hit 50 yards consistently on his kickoffs.
I can't see the flag, Chad. Is it blowing like across the field?
It's going that way. It's blowing from right to left here, Dave, and it's blowing pretty stiff breeze.
Yeah, it certainly picked up here once kickoff took place, so it adds another dimension to this. A false start called against Warren. And so they'll march it back 5 from the line of scrimmage, a 1st and 15 now.
2 penalties in the game, both against Warren, so that's their second for 10 yards. Yes, Dave, the wind has picked up some. That 70-degree weather they're feeling out here and thinking we needed to shed some clothing is no longer at play.
Not worried about it. Handoff this time goes to Marvin Bryant. Bryant gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all.
Good job.
It's going to be a 2nd down and 15.
And a great job that time by the interior of the Bearcat defense to just shut that run down. That's good. That's a tough area. If they're going to have success, if Warren's going to have success, and we saw with that 56-yard run by Myers, they're going to have to try to explore the edges because running to the teeth of this Bearcat defense is running right up the middle, and teams just don't have success there. Central did not have much success there besides one play. This is a big penalty here coming up, Dave, as we just got a personal foul call against the Bearcats, and that's going to be a 1st down.
Yes, it ends up being a 16-yard penalty, takes the ball out to midfield. 1st and 10, Warren Dragons right at that midfield stripe. 3:46 left to go in the first quarter, a 14-6 Bearcats lead. And we have another sporting event coming up tomorrow night. We're going to tell you about that here in a sec. Well, we can tell you now because the would appear as though the umpire ran in there in a hurry. It's the Huntingdon Pee Wee Super Bowl. War Vets Field tomorrow. Jeff Speck has all the action at the varsity game tomorrow night at 7 here on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM. Quarterback Kupchak lets it go. It's completed about the 18-yard line. And then throwing
offset.
It's Jonathan Price who threw the receiver to the field, and then another flag came in afterwards as somebody took a shot at Price after the pass completion to Aiden Morrison.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what happens here. It looks like that pass was complete to number 9, Ryan Arnold, down to the 11-yard line.
And then one of the guys down there that was involved in the action was Aiden Morrison of Warren.
And we had a personal foul, looked like being called on Price for
throwing him down,
out of bounds. Right? And then all of a sudden Arnold gets up and comes right back at him. So it was offsetting penalties. But then I saw a 3rd flag being thrown in. So I'm not quite sure how this is all going to get sorted out. My guess is it's just going to be offsetting penalties, and the ball is going to be placed at the 11.
There is a confab amongst the Zebras at about the 11-yard line. That's where the ball was marked out of bounds. And they continue to talk about it, and Warren is standing at about the 25. So I think they're expecting that in the end it may be a penalty against them. Personal foul against Huntingdon. Personal foul against Warren. And they offset, and it will be Warren ball 1st and 10 at the Bearcats 11.
So that's a 39-yard pickup, and Arnold was able to get beyond Price he had Price cleared by 7 or 8 yards out here, and Kupchella put the ball right on the money as the fake handoff sucked in the interior of the Bearcat defense, and all Kupchella had to do was pitch and catch there with Arnold for 39 yards.
Kupchella is doing a great job at quarterback and is really able to get the defense to bite on his fakes. Fakes the pitch this time. It was a handoff earlier, and the Bearcats were having none of that as he handed it off to Marvin Bryant, and Bryant is taken down, that is, for no gain, we're going to call it. We'll put him back at the 11-yard line, so it'll be 2nd down and 10. The down marker did move back by about a yard, so maybe there was a 1-yard loss.
I gave him the 1-yard loss.
All right.
That's all right.
1-yard loss on the carry, and once again the breeze really picking up here.
Yep.
In the first quarter, clock rolling, 2:57, and this time the quarterback is going to be sacked. It's Ian Border who takes down Kupchella, that is, in the backfield.
Kupchella didn't field that snap correctly as he had to pick that ball up off of the ground, and then all of a sudden, Border from his outside linebacker position was there quickly to make the stop. Put him all the way back to the 21-yard line, so that's a 10-yard loss.
Or at least I'm going to put this window down. That wind is just getting a little too on the brisk side here. A little bit of a stiff breeze coming in. Hopefully that has not interrupted our feed back to the Air Network studios where Greg Banks is. And it is 3rd down and 20. For the Warren Dragons. Kupchella is back to pass. Looks toward the end zone. Lets it go on a post pattern. It's incomplete as the pass was intended for Cole Nozzle. And it's Nozzle, as I hear the public address guy say. So the pass falls incomplete. And it brings up a 4th down and 20. So the Bearcats, after giving up that big gain and then the flags flying everywhere, end up stiffening up, picking up a sack, incomplete pass, and a run for a 1-yard loss. And now it's going to be a field goal attempt, and it's going to be a 39-yarder.
Right into the wind that's blowing, Dave. So this will be interesting.
Seth Harrington kicks the ball. It's up and looks like it could be good, and it is.
Wow, just over the
crossbar.
That's all it has to be, though,
yeah.
Just over the crossbar. So that's a 39-yard field goal.
Did what he needed to do, and it makes the score Bearcats 14, Warren 9. And once again, we're hearing from our regulars. Thanks for being out there tonight. Peg Bennett is there along with Glenda Bell. Thanks for listening. They're listening on 94.1 FM in Huntingdon, and we appreciate that as well. So 2:05 left to go in the first quarter, and Warren, for being a 2-7 team coming into the game, showing some pretty decent offense here, Chad.
Yeah, absolutely they are. Capcello looking good. You know, he's 1 of 3 for 39 yards. That big one to Arnold, but you know, it's a couple big plays. It's keeping him in the ball game. And
one stat you don't get to write down, Chad, is how well he is able to fake handoffs.
Right.
I mean, it's
play action pass is big.
Yeah. And what is going on there? I'll tell you what, if there were TV cameras here, they'd be getting faked out too, I can guarantee you. By the way, you can help us defray costs to the PIAA in the upcoming playoff games. Make a small contribution, and all you have to do is send that off to Greg Banks at P.O. Box 56, Huntingdon, PA 16652. All contributions from alums, groups, or organizations will be acknowledged during the broadcasts. We won't be able to do those games without your help here in the postseason. The Bearcats are in the postseason, no ifs, ands, or buts. It just is a question of where they're going to be seated and where they're going to, what teams they may face. Here's a little short line drive, picked up at about the 24-yard line by Wagner, out over the 40, over midfield, he's gone. And there is a flag, and it is Wagner taking it the whole way back, and the flag, I don't see it still. Where is it?
Right here at the 40-yard line.
Okay.
See it?
So
it's coming back.
Yeah, unfortunately. I'll tell you what, he got by once he made that, got a couple of steps on Blake Arnold.
Well,
he was gone.
You're right, but here's the thing: the warning kicker is going to Harrington's going to put it on the ground, but because this turf, Dave, is 20 years old or whatever, the ball just skids along like it's a baseball. All the Huntington special teams need to do is move out of the way, and that ball is going to go right back to Wagner to field like an infield ground ball.
Yeah, best thing you can do to keep it away from Price and Wagner is to have one of those little pop-up kicks. It's a 10-yard penalty against the Bearcats. And, hey, guess what? Still got real good field possession. 1st and 10 at the Bearcats' 49.
I'm sure they'd still like to have that touchdown back, though.
Yeah,
but,
well, we'll take it. And the Bearcats now with their 3rd possession, having scored on both of their first 2 possessions. One that they had from the 6-yard line in, and then put a nice drive together. Man in motion, Wagner. Here's the pass from Hootie to Jarris Warner. Warner is down over the 45 with a spin move and gets first down yardage, it would appear, eventually brought down by Mitchell Bryant.
And he's going to get 10 yards right on the button that time as Warner's able to come back. And we don't see him catching the ball a lot this year, but when he does, he's very effective with it.
Saw him throwing some passes here in warm-ups.
He's got a good arm, too.
Yeah, he does.
He's an all-around athlete, Jarris Warner is.
He and Troha both heaving some passes down the field in the pregame drills for the Huntingdon Bearcats, dressed in their road whites tonight. Numbers in navy trimmed in red, and Andrew Hootie is back to pass down the sideline. Battle for the football, and it goes incomplete. What a great battle between Jacob Wagner and the coverage down there from Ryan Arnold.
Yeah, it was single coverage all the way down the field, and Andrew Hootie took a shot, figuring that Jake Wagner's going to be able to come up with that ball. But
he put it in the,
he did. He put it right
spot
there.
where Wagner could have caught it, and it was just good defense that time from Arnold.
Arnold turned right around and faced that ball and was able to just go ahead and knock it away. So good defensive play.
Second down and 10 for the Bearcats with the ball at Warren's 41-yard lines. Bearcats are up by a 14-9 score with 1:23 left to go in the first quarter. Blitz is called back. Handoff goes to Border. He's going to be dropped for a loss, as he's brought down at the 45-yard line, a 4-yard loss, and a third down and 14.
Yeah, and suddenly this is becoming an important third down, as Warren has demonstrated that they can move the football tonight. So very important third down here with 1:03 to go in the first quarter. A couple scores around the area. Central leads Eastern York 14-0, Juniata 12, Upper Dauphin nothing. These are all first quarter scores. Forest Hills in a battle with Bedford at 7-6. Bedford over Forest Hills right now. Chestnut Ridge 7-0 over Tyrone, and Belfont 13, Bald Eagle area 0. Claysburg Kimmel 7-0 over Mount Union.
Shotgun the snap to Hootie. Lets it go down the sideline. He was hoping that Jacob Wagner could catch up with that down the sideline, but he got a little bit of a late start. That was kind of an emergency throw by Hootie as he was being chased over toward the Huntingdon side of the field, the opposite side. And he is unable to catch up with that pass from Andrew Hootie, so Hootie's going to punt the ball away as it's a 4th down and 13.
And Andrew's been really good at being able to put these balls inside the 10-yard line and not put them into the end zone.
Hootie with the punt. It's a good high one. Comes down at the 6. There's going to be a return out over the 10 and brought down at about the 13-yard line. Good coverage by the Bearcats to bring down Micah Passmore.
Yeah, it was Derek Foltz that time, as he just wouldn't let Passmore shake and bake him out of his cleats there, and a good job of bringing him down. Again, Hootie putting that ball right inside the 10-yard line. He's really good at not being able to put that in the end zone.
And that's not an easy thing to do either, Chad, with the wind carrying on the way it is here tonight.
Nope, absolutely not. So, by virtue of that return, that's kind of like a +6 because the ball's not sitting at the 20, it's sitting at the 14.
1st and 10, Dragons ball at the 14. The Bearcats have their first empty possession as far as points go on the night. Quarterback, Kupchella, and he hands the ball off to Marvin Bryant. Bryant gets out near the 21-yard line. Did he fumble going down?
Well, they're going to say he's down, but
he was down
close.
By contact, as they are like to say. And that's going to bring up a 2nd down. And now the guys with the sticks are a little messed up here. Wasn't that the 14-yard line, the line of scrimmage?
It was.
And they have taken the chains and moved them back to the 21. And I think the officials need to get control of this before we go on.
Because they don't.
21.2
it should
seconds.
be 2nd and 4, and their chain is not right. So
yeah. The chains are wrong.
The chains are wrong. The spot of the ball is correct, but the chains are incorrect.
And the down marker's wrong because it's showing 1st down. It is 2nd down.
And they're not correcting it, though. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, this is bizarre. No correction of the chain placement.
No,
it was. They did rule it a fumble.
They ruled it a fumble.
And it's Ian Border. Border's down over the 5, knocks a player over, and gets into the end zone.
Well, Dave,
there is a flag that comes in after Border ends up scoring after he throttled Micah Passmore at about the 5-yard line with a stiff arm and went on in.
We were duped.
Yes, we were. Yes, we were. The chain guys were right.
The chain guys were right because we saw that official coming from the far sideline pointing down, saying that he was down, and we didn't watch the change of possession happen.
So the Bearcats with the football again.
We have an illegal block called.
Well, they're saying an illegal block at the end of that run by Ian Border, and Coach Hootie is beside himself.
So that's a 19-yard run and then a 10-yard penalty on top of that.
Places the ball at the 11, and that is still a 1st down for the Bearcats, and they can get a 1st down without scoring. In this particular case, down to 13.6 seconds and a very productive and play-filled final 30 seconds of the first quarter.
We want to apologize to you guys listening to us out there, but we saw the far official coming in pointing down that the running back Bryant was down, and we thought he had fumbled it, but we were going by what we had seen. So
All right, Hootie in the shotgun, Border beside him to his right. Hootie back to pass, throws into the end zone. Touchdown, that was Price. And Jonathan Price with the catch to make it a 20-9 game. No flags on the field this time. By the way, a couple of things did want to bring you up to date on Dory Fortson tuning into the Air Network for the Bearcats games this year. Her husband Dave is the commissioner of the Huntingdon Pee Wee Football League and their big Super Bowl day tomorrow. Thanks for listening to tonight's game. And here's Gio Scotcha. Point after is up and good, and it makes the score Bearcats 21 and the Warren Dragons 9. And there's still, believe it or not, Chad, 9.3 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
In a very fun-filled first quarter, to say the least.
I'll tell you what, that's a lot of points the Bearcats have put up here in quarter number 1.
Yes, absolutely. And, we'll look here real quick as Hootie is 5 of 7 for 50 yards and a pair of touchdowns, one going to Price and then one going to Miller. Border, 7 carries, 28 yards and a 1 score in the first quarter. And then Andrew Hootie with that one big 21-yard run, accounting for the Bearcat offense. They've come out and did what they needed to do here so far this evening, and that's control this football game. Again, as we had said at the top of the broadcast, this is an important game. This is for the District 6 top seed, and the ability to play away from Central and Forest Hills, to let those two play off in their semifinal that would most likely take place at Sidman at Forest Hills in 2 weeks. So this is a very big victory, or a very big game for Huntingdon to win here to secure that top seed and probably end up playing the winner of Juniata and Bald Eagle area.
Warren so far showing a pretty powerful offense as their quarterback, Jake Capcella, is a very convincing faker when he's faking handoffs. The play action has worked to a T.
He did
for
go
the
to that.
Dragons.
Yeah, I was told he did attend the Manning Passing Academy. So nobody better to learn play action passing than from.
Here's a line drive fielded at the 13-yard line, out over the 25 and tripped up. As coming in for the trip up was Derek Foltz.
He's been special in special teams all year long. He's one of those unsung heroes. He's got 10 or 11 tackles on the year, and most of them are on special teams in important situations like this.
Cole Nozzle on the return, getting out to the 29-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10, and this will theoretically be the final play of the first quarter.
Yes.
Although I've never seen a longer end to a first quarter, we will probably reach it after this. Bearcats 21 and the Warren Dragons 9. It is the final regular season contest for the Huntingdon Bearcats. Going to have a bye week coming up next week. Capcella with a pass, and he completes it to Cole Nozzle. Nozzle gets over the 30-yard line to about the 31, a gain of 2, and the clock does finally reach zeros. We have completed the first quarter of play at War Memorial Field in Warren, Pennsylvania. And the score, Bearcats 21 and Warren 9 on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon.
Call Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing for affordable heating, plumbing, and drain cleaning services in Huntingdon. Count on 12 years of ensured excellent service when it comes to heating, plumbing, ventilation, and drain cleaning. Call Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing, available evenings and weekends at an affordable rate. Call 814-506-5128. That's 506-5128 for Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing in Huntingdon.
Sometimes facts are hard to face. Statistics show that obesity is a problem in the United States, and it's not getting any better. At Simone Family Chiropractic, we understand this problem. We also know that obesity leads to very serious health problems later in life. There is a way to cleanse your body and get back to optimum health. It is called the Doctor-Supervised ChiroThin System, and it teaches you how and what to eat in the real world. Call us at Simone Family Chiropractic at 814-643-2616, or stop in and see us at 613 Washington Street in Huntingdon, across from All American Pizza, or find us on Facebook.
All-American Pizza and Subs in downtown Huntingdon at 612 Washington Street is the home of the new Bearcat Sub. Enjoy mozzarella cheese with bacon, crispy chicken, sour cream and chive fries, and our top-selling wing flavor, Mactown Gold, all wrapped on a fresh homemade roll. Try the Bearcat plus our many other great pizzas and subs at All-American Pizza and Subs. Don't forget their new Pepsi flavor shots, too. All-American Pizza and Subs will donate $1 for every pizza sold during October, with proceeds going toward breast cancer research. Call 6 643-0222 for delivery. Open till 9, closed Mondays.
This is Ben Briggs, and you're listening to the Huntingdon Bearcats on the Air Network.net.
Back at Warren Memorial Field in Warren, Pennsylvania, where the Bearcats are taking on the Warren Dragons and leading the game by a score of 21-9 on a 2nd down and 8. Quarterback Jake Kupchela's pass ends up going incomplete. Threw it a little bit low that time, right around the midfield marker. Would have been a 1st down, but it goes incomplete. Brings up a 3rd down and 8 now for the Warren Dragons. Back to pass is Kupchela. And he completes it out to Bryant. Bryant gets out near the 35-yard line. And did the ball come loose again? The Bearcats pointing that it's their football, but that's not the case. It's Bryant who goes down at the 35-yard line to set up a 4th down and 4. Gain of 4 in the play.
Yeah. First quarter statistics here real quick. Huntingdon with 95 total yards of offense and Warren with 89. So really even offensively as far as yards go, but it's points that matter, Dave, in the 21-9 lead for the Bearcats.
And so it's going to be another attempted punt. Last time that Harrington tried to punt didn't go so well. The Bearcats blocked it. They faked the punt. And carrying the football is Passmore. Passmore to the right side. He's going to be taken down well short of 1st down yardage. Actually, it's going to be a loss on the play back to about the 34-yard line. And that's where the Bearcats will take over 1st and 10. And let's see, the umpire looks like he may want to mark it right at the 35-yard line. We'll see how that goes. Nope, they're going to mark it at the 34. Bearcats ball 1st and 10, so the trickeration by the Warren Dragons did not fool the Bearcats.
Now, it's an interesting call, but when you're 2-7, Dave, you've got to try stuff outside of the box to see if you can break through, especially against an 8-1 football team.
Price in motion, handoff to Border. Border goes over the left side, gets down over the 30-yard line, and brought down eventually at about the 29, in which case it would be a gain of 5 and a 2nd down and 5. And did someone lose their shoe? No, guess not. Just looks like wristbands lost by one of the Bearcats there over on the far side of the field. Bearcats are dressed in their road whites, as I mentioned, with the numbers in navy trimmed in red, blue pants, big white stripe, and then a red stripe inside of that down the pant leg. Here's a handoff to Border again. Border's down over the 25. Eventually brought down around maybe the 23. He's got a 1st down for the Bearcats on the carry. It may just be, see one of the side judges standing right at the 24 or so. It's another gain of 5 and a 1st and 10.
And Huntington's offense is rolling now, as you see. Border picking up 5 yards at a clip every time he's carrying the ball. So good blocking up front that time by the Bearcats. Border now 9 carries, 38 yards.
1st and 10 at the 24 of the Warren Dragons. 21-9, the Bearcats lead. Man in motion, Wagner. Back to pass is Hootie. Hootie rolling to his left, completes it to Jonathan Price down around the 10-yard line. Price with a bit of a spin move on Ryan Arnold. Picks up a couple more, and they'll mark him down at the 9, 1st and goal for the Bearcats. And the red zone has become home for the Bearcats in tonight's game.
And unlike last week, Dave, we're starting to see this Bearcat offense, find its rhythm. Last week, there was no rhythm. They couldn't find themselves. They didn't know what to do. Right now, tonight, we're starting to see that happen as Huntingdon 1st and, again, as you had said, in the red zone.
1st and goal from the 9. Hootie in the shotgun. Wagner in motion. Hootie with the keep. Goes forward down to about the maybe 6. Let's see where they end up marking him down at. Might be the 7. No, it's going to be the 6, I think.
Yep.
And that's going to be a gain of 3 and a 2nd down and goal from the 6. As Chad said, the Bearcat offense is back in gear. Thank you very much.
And that's important heading into the bye week, knowing that you were able to fix some stuff coming off of last week. And, take nothing away, Central is a very good defensive football team.
Clock rolling, 8:50 left to go in the first half, and the Bearcats up 21-9 trying to add on. And did they draw Warren offside?
I think they did.
Yes. Well, he showed offside and pointed to, yep, He did point to Warren. So that's going to be half the distance, so put it down at the 3-yard line. And, there's probably some people that are Warren fans that say, I don't think Huntingdon needs any help at this point.
Not at this point. But again, this is a club that has, and we can see, Dave, Warren's got some good athletes out here. They're just not able to put together the total package. And it's a team that has to start to learn to win, to find itself on how to win. And that's hard.
That confidence.
And get that confidence back. So wins picking up again here at Warren.
Yes, it is. Here's the handoff to Border over the right side. It's going to be brought down at about the 2. So it's just a gain of a yard and a 3rd down and 2 for the Bearcats as they try to get into the end zone and add another 6 on.
That was a good defensive stop that time.
Look who's coming in the game. You think you might know what they're running. Andrew Finkel headed in.
Well, and also Ben Briggs.
Briggs,
double tight. I mean, same formula that worked on the first touchdown. Why not go right back to it?
Other scores we had in the first quarter: Bishop McCord over Penn Cambria 6-0, and Chad had told you Bedford over Forest Hill 7-6 back in the first. We'll try to get you updated scores on those games. 3rd down and 2, and there goes Border into the end zone pretty much unscathed. He eventually got contact after he got over the goal line, but he's in to make it a 27-9 Bearcats lead.
Nice power run that time by Border to go ahead and get the score.
Went over to the left side, and of course, Finkel and the blocking all went to the right side. Got to love it when that happens.
Huntingdon 4 for 4 in the red zone, so when the opportunity presents itself, Dave, they're taking advantage of it this evening.
Sure are. 7:36 left to go in the first half. 27-9. Gio Scotcha trying to make it a 28-9 game out of the hold of Jarris Warner. Scotch's kick is up, and it is good. Right down the middle, and the Bearcats lead at 28-9. Once again, thanks to our Bearcat broadcast boosters, Huntingdon Moose Family Center, 223, D.C. Goodman & Sons and the Goodman family, Simone Chiropractic and Weight Loss, Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing, and All-American Pizza and Subs. After the 4th down fake punt, it was the Bearcats able to take it in from 34 yards out and score another touchdown.
Scurry for my phone here and give you some scores. Central 27, Eastern York nothing in second quarter action is now Forest Hills 14, Bedford 7 in the second quarter. Juniata over Upper Dauphin 12-7. That game still in the first quarter. Chestnut Ridge taking it to Tyrone. That is expected. 21-0. Juniata Valley 14, Everett 6. And Bellefonte still playing with Bonneville area at 7-0, and that's a rivalry game right there, Dave. That's a hard-fought rivalry game. Those schools are closer than what people think.
I think there's like a copper kettle.
Yeah, there is. There's
something that goes on
Paul Bunyan's axe too, or something like that. Yeah, and Claysburg Kimmel 14, Mount Union 7. Scores from around the area, and important ones to find out. And as these scores develop, I'll kind of let you know where things are shaping up in the district. But right now, as the scores settle, Huntington's at the top seed. Forest Hills would be 2nd, Central in 3rd, Juniata in 4th, Bonneville in 5th, and it would be Tyrone in 6th because Bedford is getting beat. There's only 10 points that separate Bedford and Tyrone, and if they both lose, Tyrone will hold that 6th spot and advance to play Central next week.
The wind reared its ugly head there and blew the football off the tee of Gio Scotcha. It looked like he might get some help from Weglars, but the ball's staying put now despite the breezy conditions.
Dave, we can't state the importance of what Gio has brought to this team this year.
No doubt.
Outstanding job by the sophomore.
This one's a typical kickoff, and it hangs up in the air for a while. Fielded at about the 18, and on the return, Cole Nozzle ends up tripping over his own feet and goes down at about the 24. They're going to mark him, at the 24. So it ends up being, about a 9-yard return for Nozzle on the play, and a 1st and 10 for Warren. Once again, the ball at their own 24. They have scored twice. They got a touchdown. Extra point was blocked, and then they were able to pick up a field goal, and that accounts for their 9 points. The Bearcats, on the other hand, have put 4 touchdowns on the scoreboard tonight. Points after all good by Gio Scotcha, and a 28-9 Bearcats lead with 7:31 left to go in the first half. Cupcella in the shotgun. Points to his right. A bit of an adjustment, and here comes a blitz. Cupcella gets away, and he's going to be brought down from behind. And that ends up being Ben Briggs with the sack, and he gets a little assistance there from Ryan Query. But don't discount the first guy into the backfield that time.
Draven Zook.
Yeah,
outstanding job by Zook to start that pursuit, to flush Cupcella out into the open and to cause that sack that time.
And it looks like Cupcella may be down after the tackle.
That's huge.
Oh, my goodness.
Absolutely huge. This would be a devastating loss for the Dragons.
One of the trainers is trying to talk to him there, and he's not moved a lot. And he has his head coach out there with him, 2 of the training staff. And the Bearcats over on the opposite side of the field on a knee, and most of the Warren Dragons on a knee here in the near sideline. By the way, the Dragons are dressed in all blue tonight, navy tops and bottoms, and the numbers are in white on the backs. And they have a helmet that is a pure white with a blue stripe in the middle of it, and the big W for Warren. And popping up is quarterback Jake Cupcella.
It's good to see. He's holding his head, though.
Yeah, he is holding his head, so we'll see what happens there. Deb Kramer checking in from Georgia tonight, listening to the Bearcats on the Air Network. Send us some peach cobbler, would you? Anyway.
Rapidly.
Deb is a former Bearcat cheerleader, circa 1970s. Thanks, Deb. And we'll be looking for that peach cobbler from you anytime now. Yeah, if it's from Georgia, it has to have a peach involved, does it not? Micah Passmore will be the new quarterback. He's up under center, and he pitches it back. Myers goes up to about the 25-yard line, and he's met quickly by a number of Bearcat tacklers, including Alex Mikett in on the stop. He's going to end up picking up a couple of yards there to about the 26-yard line to set up a 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, and surprisingly, that's his first carry since his 56-yard touchdown run at the, what was that, the 7:30-something mark? We'll look at that. At the 6:50 mark in the first quarter. So, almost 12 minutes has gone by since Myers has touched the ball, and that's something that they've got to get the ball in his hands if they have a chance tonight.
And one of the Bearcats jumps across. I think that's Draven Zook.
But was
maybe
he
trying to get an early start? We'll see if he was drawn or not.
It looks like he was.
Yeah, he was, as they begin the march backward against the Warren Dragons back to the 21-yard line, 5-yard penalty and a 3rd down. And let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, 3rd and 13.
4th penalty for Warren, 4 for 18. Huntington with 3 penalties for 36 yards tonight.
14-14 in the second quarter.
At times, though, these particular penalties that are going on, like, for example, this one here, and a couple of the other penalties, Warren jumping offside a couple of times, and then the false starts, those are ones you don't expect at this time of the year.
No, you expect to have those cleaned up. You're right.
Yeah. And back to pass. And throwing down the field incomplete. The pass intended for Aiden Morrison from the new quarterback, Micah Passmore. But he was leading him to the near sideline. Just gave him a little bit too much room that time. No way that he could catch up with it. So the pass falls incomplete. And it brings up a 4th down and 13. And it sends Jonathan Price back at about the 36-yard line of the Bearcats.
It's tough, Dave, to ask a freshman to come in to supplant a quarterback as good as what we've seen out of Cupcella here this evening. So tough sledding here for Warren.
Yeah, Jake Cupcella is still on the bench and is being talked to by the trainers. Ball hits at about the 39-yard line, fielded by Price. Waits, takes a look at where his blockers are. They're nowhere near where he needs them to be, but he does go forward and ends up picking up about 6 yards on the return out to the 44-yard line. Bearcat football, 1st and 10.
It's going to be a 12-yard return that time for Price as he fielded it to 32.
My mistake.
That's okay. It happens. It's easier for me to follow it sometimes than it is for you, and it's just the way it works sometimes. But anyway,
I was thinking about where the ball hit.
Right. Good job that time by Price as he's able to loot a couple tacklers and they give Huntington a good field position here at their own 44-yard line. Huntington setting up shop again, Dave. Like they have all night long, they've had excellent field position.
And this time it's Drew Weglars out there in the backfield beside Andrew Hootie. Hootie rolling to his left, looks downfield, and finds, he had Jake Wagner open, and he threw it just a little bit low, almost picked off by the Warren Dragons as Cole Nozzle was between Hootie and Wagner.
And Nozzle's one of the leading receivers for Warren, so I'm surprised he didn't come up with that catch, as it hit him right in the hands. I don't know if Andrew didn't see him as he was kind of looking beyond him or whatever, but that ball hit Nozzle right in the hands, and he dropped it. That's a pick six waiting to happen, Dave. That he had clear sailing right ahead of him. We got lucky on that one.
One of the things I noticed as Hootie was coming back to the huddle, he was making a motion like I didn't quite exactly throw that ball as well as I needed to. 5:41 clock stopped, and now rolling as Hootie takes the ball, gets out over the 45, now turns a corner, midfield, 45 of Warren, down to the 40, and is eventually taken out of bounds at about the perhaps 36-yard line. What a great run by Andrew Hootie.
Yeah, real good run that time. And you see how Andrew runs. He covers that ball up real nicely, as to say, you're not going to strip this ball away from me.
Knocked out of bounds at the 37.
37-yard line.
5:32 left to go. Hootie going out of bounds, stopping the clock. Bearcats are leading Warren by a score of 28-9 here at Warren Memorial Field in Warren.
19-yard pickup that time by Andrew Hootie.
Just downwind from the refinery. Yep, I can smell it. Bearcats, and once again Weglars. Weglars with a block there as he headed out of the backfield, and launching one toward the near sideline was Hootie. And Price initially was expecting that not to go toward the sideline quite that much. He had turned, he looked, I think he was expecting it right there.
Yeah.
And it ended up drifting toward the sideline. I don't know, perhaps that was a bit wind-driven with the pass by Hootie.
He is throwing into the wind, but good coverage that time by Cole Nozzle, too, as he was right there, step for step with Price the whole way.
I want to say hello to Dick Shalaba, tuned in on the Air Network tonight. Always good to hear from Dick. He, of course, has over 50 years of service in refereeing games throughout the Commonwealth. Drew Weglars, the ball carrier, over the 30, down over the 25, and eventually down at the 22-yard line, and another Bearcat first down. Drew Weglars with a big gain.
15 yards, and what do we say about him, Dave? He's a change of pace back. He just brings something a little bit different than what you see out of the other Huntington running backs, and every time he gets in there, he has an energy about him.
Yeah,
he keeps his feet running very, very hard, and good things happen when that ball gets into Drew's belly.
22-yard line, the Bearcats with the football on another drive headed toward the red zone. They've already punched it in 4 times tonight, leading the game 28-9. Under 5 minutes left to go in the first half. Man in motion is Weglars. Empty set backfield. Hootie's going to keep this one. He gets down over the 20 and gets down near first down yardage. Needed to get to the 12, and I think that's about where he got to.
Yeah, and he landed a little awkwardly out there, so he's slow getting up. And in fact, he's not getting up quite yet as he's down on all fours out here. But whenever he slid, he kind of slid awkwardly on his right leg, and he's struggling a little bit as a training staff for Huntington's out there to take a look at him.
They mark him down at the 14, a couple yards short, 2nd down and 2, and Andrew does get up and makes his way toward the bench, and I would assume that Nick Troha will probably get the call to come in here and continue this drive for the Bearcats in the red zone now at the 14.
As we have said before, he is a very capable quarterback in his own right.
No doubt. No doubt. We've seen Nick complete some fine passes early in the season. I was so impressed with how well he led his receivers downfield. And he's got 2 fast guys in Wagner and Price, and he's able to lead them in a way that resembles what you'd expect out of a high-level college player or even a pro quarterback. Troha takes the snap, hands off to Weglars, tries to turn it upfield, and they grab a hold of him by his shoulder, and they bring him down as Ryan Monksgaard pulls him down for a loss on the play of a couple, and that'll set up a 3rd down and 5.
Loss of 3 that time. Good defensive effort by Warren. Going to set up a 3rd and 5 situation, like you said, Dave, and it'll be an interesting play call here to see what the Bearcats do. They are within Gio Scacci field goal range. We do know that. He has a 40-yarder to his credit this year, so we do know that they can attempt a field goal from this. Despite the wind, I think Gio's still good to go.
3:40 left to go in the half. Troha back to pass. Looks downfield toward the end zone. It's intercepted in the end zone. Picked off by Micah Passmore. So Passmore steps in front of the pass intended for Jacob Wagner and pulls off the interception. Wagner on a post pattern, and it was just not high enough to get over Passmore and into where Wagner could catch it. So first turnover of the night by the Bearcats. It'll be 1st and 10. Dragons ball at their own 20.
So another missed opportunity that time by the Bearcats in the red zone. And it doesn't happen that often. Huntington's red zone offense has been very prolific all season long. When
it's
they get
a percentage that most teams would love to have.
Yeah. Yep.
3:36 left to go in the first quarter. And let's see who is out there, the quarterback. I do believe it is Passmore. And Passmore hands the ball off quickly. And a big gainer out over the middle. Marvin Bryant gets out over the 30. He'll be marked down at the 31-yard line, I believe. 11 yards on the carry and a Warren first down.
Yeah, and a touchdown-saving tackle that time by strong safety Andrew Finkel, where Bryant's going for a lot more.
1st and 10. Dragons ball at their own 31-yard line. Bearcats up 28-9. Clock rolling, 3:15 left to go in the first half. Passmore, the new quarterback. And another quick handoff, not going anywhere this time, is one of the big guys. Looked like Lance Brown that had a hold of him.
Sure was.
And Brown brings him down after a gain of 1. 2nd down and 9.
Again, running at the middle of that Bearcat defense, Dave, is very tough to do.
Jake Kupchella, the starting quarterback, went down on the previous possession by Warren. He's still sitting on the bench here.
Yeah, he was holding his head when he was coming off, so yeah. I'm not so sure he might be being looked at as for a concussion here. Which would mean his evening is done.
Yes, exactly. And now the quarterback, Passmore, is going to be sacked back at the 25-yard line. As pulling him down was Alex Mikett. How many sacks did Alex have on the season coming in?
Mikett had 4 coming in tonight. Now he has 5, so...
Well done.
Well done. It's a 7-yard loss that time.
Timeout call by the Bearcats as Warren faces a 3rd down and 16. So the Bearcats trying to preserve a little time on the clock so that they can maybe get one more score here. And then add on to that, the Bearcats will get the ball to start the second half.
Yep.
2:25 left to go in the first half, and the Bearcats up 28-9.
And I do want to point out, Dave, that the adjustments that Huntington's made on defense has been outstanding, as they've just pretty much, now granted, Kupchella being out of the game kind of helps, but Huntington has 4 sacks, 3 sacks on the night, 5 tackles for loss, and a block kick to their credit, and also a fumble recovery, as they are still plus 11 in the turnover ratio. So another outstanding job by the Huntington defensive unit here this evening.
Be tuned tomorrow at noon. Pitt Panthers take on the Virginia Cavaliers at Heinz Field. Airtime is at noon, and we'll have a rebroadcast of this game coming up right before that. And don't forget about Monday night sports talk from 7 to 8 here on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon. Quarterback rolling to his left, almost sacked. Mikett had him slip away, and now the quarterback goes over the 30, 35, 40, midfield, and a saving tackle over on the far side of the field for the Bearcats on Micah Passmore. And that looked like, was that Isaiah Reed?
That was Isaiah Reed showing speed as from a defensive line position, but that's going to be almost a 29-yard pickup that time by Passmore on a 3rd down as he was flush from the pocket.
That was amazing. That's how fast 6', 215 can move. And that was pretty darn fast because Passmore was out there in a full gallop. And the defensive lineman caught up to him and brought him down. 1st and 10, Warren ball at the Bearcats 46, and the ball carrier is Bryant. Bryant gets down over the 40 to about the 37-yard line. It's going to be a gain of 9 and a 2nd down and a yard.
Yeah, and he put a good stiff arm that time on strong safety Andrew Finkel, who got up and is still shaking his head a little bit out there. So I'm quite sure his neck. I know he had a little bit of a neck injury in some previous games, but Good, strong run that time by Bryant.
Second down, long yard for the Warren Dragons. Minute 20 left to go. And one of the Bearcats jumped but did not come across the neutral zone. Keeping the ball. Passmore, and he has a nice fake on Jarris Warner. Warner ended up biting as though he was going to pitch it to his running back from the backfield. Passmore kept it, got down over the 30 to about the 27-yard line, and that's a 10-yard gain, and it's good for a first down for the Dragons.
Well, we're seeing him making good decisions out here. Only a freshman, if I'm looking at that correctly, Dave, and doing a nice job here picking up for Kupchella in the second quarter as he went down with an injury.
Now, dare I suggest that this roster and the numbers involved on this roster were put together at the beginning of the season, and dare I say Micah Passmore is growing, because I think 5'9", 155 is a little bit too small.
Yes.
I think that Micah is definitely, Mom and Dad have been feeding him well. Let me put it that way. So, here are the Warren Dragons with the ball 1st and 10 at the Bearcats 27 in their best drive of the game. And as Chad pointing out, that Passmore coming in after the injury to Jake Kupchella, and he's doing a fine job, making some good decisions. And, of course, the Bearcats ended up having to go to their backup quarterback, and Nick Troha, and Troha ended up throwing an interception to bring the previous Bearcats possession to an end.
Now, Warren's been down here tonight, Dave, so we'll see if the Huntingdon Bearcat defense tightens up once again and is able to close the door on the Dragons.
Timeout is over, and here we go. Passmore fakes the handoff and is going to be sacked as he's taken down by Draven Zook, and it's going to be a loss of 1, I believe, and a second down and 11.
Good pursuit that time by Zook. Zook has tremendous speed. It's just all about whether Draven can stay healthy, but he is effective when he's in there.
Don't forget, you can help us defray cost to the PIAA and the upcoming playoff games. Make a small contribution. Send it to Greg Banks, P.O. Box 56, Huntingdon, PA. Passmore's back to pass, throws one down the middle, and that is caught at about the 7-yard line.
Caught by number 20,
Andrew Davidson, and it is good for a first down in the red zone at the 7-yard line. Passmore is going to go ahead and clock the football with 31.4 seconds left to go in the first half, and even though the Bearcats will get the ball in the second half, to give up a touchdown here would be kind of a deflating end to a pretty good first half by the Bearcats coming back after losing that game to Central a week ago.
Sure would be. This is Warren's first trip inside the 20 against the Bearcat defense tonight, but that was a great leaping grab that time by Davidson as he jumped up in the air to make that catch as Passmore threw it over the middle, and then kind of got his feet taken out from underneath him by his own player and dropped at the 7-8, call it the 8-yard line now. See what Warren's able to do here.
Second down and goal. Passmore's back to pass. Looks to his right. Nobody's open at the moment. He's going to run the ball. He gets down over the 10 and down to maybe the 7-yard line. He may have picked up. Nope. The down marker guy is moving back a yard to the 9, and Warren is going to take a timeout here with a third down and goal facing them from the 9-yard line. So tip of the cap to the Bearcats defense, and that play was meant to go to the right all the time, and there was just nobody open there. And I did not see the confidence in Passmore to look back over to the left side of the field to see if anybody was open. I couldn't tell, to be honest with you. I just know the Bearcats had the right side of the field clogged up.
It was good secondary coverage that time. We'll give you some scores here real quick. At the half, Central leads Eastern York 27-0 as they look to maintain that number 3 spot in the District 6 rankings. Juniata Valley 28, Everett 6, that score in the second quarter. Juniata Indians 18, Upper Dauphin 7, that score at the half. It is Bellefonte 14, Bald Eagles 0. In the second quarter action, Chestnut Ridge all over Tyrone 35-7. And Forest Hills continues to lead Bedford. Now that score jumps up to 20-7. Mount Union and Claysburg tied at the half, 14-14. And here in Warren, Huntingdon 28, Warren Dragons 9.
Yeah, I think that Bald Eagle and Bellefonte are playing for the Peach Cobbler
I want to play.
So, Deb, get the peach cobbler ready. Back to passes, Passmore, flushed out of the pocket and tripped up in the backfield for another sack. It's Alex Mikett as he drags him down at about not necessarily drags him down, tripped him up, though. And he's brought down at the 16-yard line, a loss of 7 and a fourth down, and spiking the football on fourth down, apparently not remembering where what the down was, and official comes in waving his hands. There are zeros on the scoreboard as far as the clock goes. It's an illegal. They do flag him for illegal motion. It's an offensive penalty, so the half does come to an end. Well, quite a drive there at the end of the game, or at the end of the half, that is, by Warren, but they come up short again. So we have one half in the books at War Memorial Field in Warren, and it's the Bearcats 28 and Warren 9. A reminder that the Air Network at 94.1 FM in Huntingdon will be following Bearcats boys and girls hoops, along with Bearcat wrestling starting in December. More details are coming up on the broadcast schedule following the football playoffs. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned because we're going to take our halftime break. Greg Banks will have our halftime show for you. We'll come back and talk about the first half stats, too. Once again, we're at halftime in Warren, Pennsylvania, and the score, Bearcats 28 and the Warren Dragons 9. Back with more after this. You're listening to the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon. D.C. Goodman & Sons and the Goodman family are committed and dedicated to excellence by supporting quality education and athletics for all youth of Huntingdon County. For over 3 generations, D.C. Goodman & Sons and their staff of quality tradesmen have provided excellent service in the installation of plumbing, mechanical and industrial piping, electrical, and fire sprinkler systems. Residential services are also available. D.C. Goodman & Sons and the Goodman family will continue to serve the community, and thank you for your support. The Goodman family wishes you the best to all area students in your pursuit of excellence. All-American Pizza and Subs in downtown Huntingdon at 612 Washington Street is the home of the new Bearcat Sub. Enjoy mozzarella cheese with bacon, crispy chicken, sour cream and chive fries, and our top-selling wing flavor, Mactown Gold, all wrapped on a fresh homemade roll. Try the Bearcat plus our many other great pizzas and subs at All-American Pizza and Subs. Don't forget their new Pepsi flavor shots, too. All-American Pizza and Subs will donate $1 for every pizza sold during October, with proceeds going toward breast cancer research. Call 643-0222 for delivery. Open till 9, closed Mondays.
The Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223 is the heart of the community, with loads of activities all year round. The Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223 proudly sponsors social events for members and their guests, plus you can enjoy their Friday food specials beginning at 5 p.m. every Friday. Saturday entertainment, plus check our website for other exciting upcoming events all year round. There's always something happening at the Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223, the heart of the community. Join us today.
This is Ian Border. You're listening to Bearcat Football on the airnetwork.net.
It's halftime here at the airnetwork.net 94.1 FM. Proud to bring you Bearcat football this season. The Bearcats on the road taking on the Warren Dragons tonight. It's halftime, and the regular season, by the way, ends tonight, but playoffs begin in a couple of weeks. We'll tell you more about that coming up in the second half with Dave Shannon and Chad States. Meanwhile, oftentimes we stop by the studios here at halftime to update you on what's happening around the area, and more importantly, what's happening here at the airnetwork.net. If you're a Pitt Panther fan, well, the Panthers taking on the Virginia Cavaliers tomorrow afternoon. Another tough ACC game, as the Panthers were big winners last weekend, just edging out the Duke Blue Devils. But the Panthers, by the way, taking on Virginia. Kickoff at 12:30. We'll probably have the pregame around 12, following the rebroadcast of tonight's game of the Huntingdon Bearcats and the Warren Dragons. Speaking of which, people oftentimes say, Greg, how many times are you going to rebroadcast that Bearcat game, which folks are listening to throughout the week, of course, on the Air Network and 94.1 FM. We live in that kind of society these days. People are very, very busy, and they only get to things whenever they get a chance to get to them. So we put these games up on our website. On the front page, you'll see it tomorrow morning, probably before noon. And that way you can download it and listen to it at your convenience. Or you'll hear the rebroadcast later on tonight after the game, and again tomorrow, probably around 9 a.m. So, and throughout the week, you never know when you'll be able to hear Bearcat football. But it's certainly a part of our programming here at the Air Network at 94.1 FM. As we head into the playoff season, as we mentioned, again, Pitt taking on Virginia tomorrow, kickoff at 12:30. Big game at the Horseshoe in Ohio as Penn State, ranked number 2 this week, gets set to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. I know we have a lot of Penn State Nittany Lion fans out there listening, hoping that the Penn State Nittany Lions can go undefeated. But tomorrow, to be quite honest, is a very pivotal game in the scheme of things. The football committee has not really gotten together just yet to kind of work on the Final Four as we progress through college football season. But more than likely, if Penn State defeats Ohio State coming up tomorrow afternoon after that 3 o'clock kickoff, well, all I can tell you is all bets off. They could be in the Final Four. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Saquon Barkley, by the way, is leading the voting at this point, or at least from a general consensus, as the Heisman candidate for 2017. So we wish the Nittany Lions all the best in the world. Coming up over the weekend, not only do we have, of course, Bearcat football rebroadcast, Pitt Panther football tomorrow at 12:30. We also have a couple of programs you might be interested in. If you love some old-time gospel music, Southern gospel to be exact, and maybe a potpourri of gospel music, you'll want to tune into the Gaither family. They do a show nationally and worldwide every week. It's a radio show, 2-hour show that you'll be able to tune into here on the Air Network, Saturday and Sunday mornings beginning around 6 a.m. to about 8 a.m. So if you love some old-time Southern gospel, join the Gaither family, Bill Gaither, and, well, you know, those guys, when they go on tour, they just have such a splendid time over the last few decades. One of the most prolific Christian songwriters known to man. If you go to church on Sunday, just open up your hymnal, and you'll see a lot of songs written by Bill Gaither. And, of course, you'll have a chance to delight in the music coming up Saturday and Sunday, as always, here on the Air Network at 94.1 FM. Which brings me to Money Pit. You're trying to do some things around the house, maybe get some fix-ups. Well, we bring you Money Pit every Saturday morning around 7 a.m., maybe 8 a.m. You can tune into that, check it out. And the reason why of course, the schedule is a little bit different. It happens during football season, usually between 7 and 8 o'clock, as I mentioned. Money Pit, you can wake up for an hour and maybe an hour and a half and find out what you can do, maybe to unclog those drains at your house, maybe to get up there and clean up those gutters, maybe put in some new windows, maybe work on that oil heat or maybe your furnace before winter hits, and it is moving in. So check out Money Pit on Saturday mornings here on the Air Network at 94.1 FM, which leads us to Sundays. Well, Sunday mornings, we have contemporary Christian music, of course, as we mentioned, Homecoming Radio with the Gaither family and Bill Gaither from about 6 a.m. to 8. Sunday mornings, worship. And coming up, of course, Sunday morning at 10 a.m., 1 hour of the service from the Huntingdon Presbyterian Church there on Mifflin Street in Huntingdon, followed by the 11 o'clock service live from the Altoona Bible Church and Pastor Stuart McClelland. So we are growing, and as I mentioned, we have loads of programming. We invite you to join us as we even expand the programming further beyond sports and, of course, some of these other programs we have weekends. As yours truly will present a 2-hour live talk show beginning on Monday, November the 6th. We'll debut the Greg Banks Show because we can't come up with a better title. We'll come up with something, but it's a talk show where we talk about local, regional, and national topics. We're going to have some fun times. We're going to open up the phone lines, take your calls, get your opinions on what's happening around the area, if not throughout the country. In addition to that, we'll have certain days where we'll have maybe an hour of dial and deal. You got something to sell. Maybe you'd like to buy something. Maybe you're looking for something. We'll put you on the air during that hour, maybe a Wednesday, and talk about what it is that you'd like to sell. And we'll have some requirements as far as that's concerned, keeping in mind that there are certain articles that we won't be able to sell, but nonetheless give you the opportunity to get your free classified ads on the air during Dial and Deal. Of course, that's coming up, debuting Monday, November the 6th with the Greg Banks Show. It's a live 2-hour talk show from 10 to noon. And then, of course, as I mentioned here recently, I've been having this attack of hay fever. They say it comes with age. as if we don't have enough other things happening as we get older. But nonetheless, I'm glad I'm not out there at the football game tonight. I'd be wheezing and, of course, probably coughing my head off. But having said that, Dave Shannon and Chad States are out there. They made that long trip to Warren, Pennsylvania, along with a bunch of Bearcat faithful. Now, I see where on Facebook there were some families that took RVs up there over the last day or two, plan on hanging around maybe Warren, Pennsylvania. But prior to tonight's game, they had some tailgating going on, so I hope you were a part of that. Of course, you can always hit us up on our Facebook page. Just go to the Air Network Facebook page. If you have some scores from maybe other games in the area, or you'd like to share maybe some maybe comments on tonight's game as you listen to it live online, or perhaps you're listening on 94.1 FM in Huntingdon, we'd be happy to hear from you. Of course, we do a lot of interacting during the game, and even our announcers get involved in that, believe it or not. So as we update some area scores tonight, if you have them, please hit us up on the Facebook page, the airnetwork.net Facebook page. We'd love to be able to hear from you. Let us know if you're listening out there, because that's very important. Oh, by the way, coming up, because of the playoffs, we will try to get all those games on the air live for you, but there is one thing that we really ask you to do, and that's because the PIAA will charge us for every game that we do. The fees are usually anywhere between $75 to $100, in addition to what we pay to go do the games anyhow. But an additional $75 for the PIAA. We ask that if you are an alum of Huntingdon High School, maybe you're a business, maybe you're an organization that listens faithfully every week to these football games, we'd love you to help us out. Maybe it's $5, maybe a $10 contribution. Whatever you can contribute, please, to the PIAA so we can pay them off. And I hate to say we got to pay them off to do the games. Will help us out. Send it to yours truly, Greg Banks, P.O. Box 56, Huntingdon, PA 16652. Any small donation will do. Again, please send your donation so we can help defray the cost to the PIAA at Greg Banks, P.O. Box 56, Huntingdon, PA 16652. Hate to beg, and we take our own money from time to time just to pay for these games, but we certainly need your help if we are to continue to follow the Bearcats through the playoff season. And by the way, they could go pretty deep this year as far as the playoffs are concerned. Chad will give us a better view of how the playoff picture will kind of unwind in the second half as we bring you more of tonight's game, the regular season finale for the Huntingdon Bearcats on the road in Warren, Pennsylvania, taking on the Warren Dragons tonight, live here on the Air Network and 94.1 FM. I believe the only local station in the area to bring you these games on the road, especially. I know a lot of the, one of the local stations does from time to time a Huntingdon game, sporadically, and it's usually just in Huntingdon. But we've been on all the road trips, and we thank you for listening. More importantly, we thank our sponsors, people like Moose Family Center 223 in Huntingdon. They've certainly helped us out, along with D.C. Goodman and the Goodman family. Michael Simone and Simone Chiropractic and Weight Loss in downtown Huntingdon. Austin Smith, Heating and Plumbing of Huntingdon. And All-American Pizza and Subs in downtown Huntingdon. Thank you to all of our sponsors, because without you, there would be no games. Seriously, there would be no games. So, again, we'll head into the winter season this year with Bearcat boys and girls basketball games. We'll have wrestling matches for you. And coming up on Saturday, one other thing I forgot, Pee Wee football. It's the Super Bowl in downtown Huntingdon on Saturday, which would be tomorrow. So if you're listening on Wednesday, that game's already over. The kids are taking over Warbets Field. They've got all kinds of Pee Wee games going on down there. Jeff Speck, by the way, will be live down there around 7 o'clock as he brings us the varsity contest of the Pee Wee Super Bowl, if you will. And, of course, you can tune in Saturday night here around 7 o'clock on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM, of course, your community radio station, and we're certainly glad to have you along. Hey, I'm looking forward to the talk show, hoping that you get involved by giving us a call. We'll give you that number as our show debuts from 10 to noon, Monday, November the 6th. Hope to see you then. Meanwhile, let's get back to more action. It's the Huntingdon Bearcats on the road tonight, taking on the Warren Dragons. Now, back to Dave Shannon and Statman Chad States on the Air Network at 94.1 FM. Call Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing for affordable heating, plumbing, and drain cleaning services in Huntingdon. Count on 12 years of ensured excellent service when it comes to heating, plumbing, ventilation, and drain cleaning. Call Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing, available evenings and weekends at an affordable rate. Call 814-506-5128. That's 506-5128 for Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing in Huntingdon.
Sometimes facts are hard to face. Statistics show that obesity is a problem in the United States, and it's not getting any better. At Simone Family Chiropractic, we understand this problem. We also know that obesity leads to very serious health problems later in life. There is a way to cleanse your body and get back to optimum health. It is called the doctor-supervised ChiroThin system, and it teaches you how and what to eat in the real world. Call us at Simone Family Chiropractic at 814-643-2616, or stop in and see us at 613 Washington Street in Huntingdon, across from All American Pizza, or find us on Facebook.
The Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223 is the heart of the community, with loads of activities all year round. The Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223 proudly sponsors social events for members and their guests, plus you can enjoy their Friday food specials beginning at 5 p.m. every Friday. Saturday entertainment, plus check our website for other exciting upcoming events all year round. There's always something happening at the Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223, the heart of the community. Join us today.
I'm Owen Kaufman. You're listening to Huntington Bearcats on the airnetwork.net.
Welcome back to Warren Memorial Field in Warren, PA, where the Bearcats are leading the Warren Dragons by a score of 28-9. And the Bearcats got back on the bicycle, and they found out that, yep, they can still ride that thing. As dropping the game last week to Central, it was important that they have a good showing coming back, and they're certainly providing us with that. To this point, leading 28-9. Chad States is going to tell you how that looked statistically.
Yeah, and it doesn't look statistically like it looks on the scoreboard, Dave. So this is where statistics don't tell the entire story of the football game. Huntington with 10 first downs, 99 yards rushing, and 50 through the air for 149 yards of total offense. Huntington ran 28 plays in that first half. When we flip it over and we look at Warren, it's 6 first downs, 94 yards rushing, of course, 56 of that on one play, 62 yards passing for 156 yards. So Warren outgaining the Bearcats in that first half, but the reason why it looks a little bit lopsided is because of the field position. Huntington had short field in a couple of possessions and was able to cash those in thanks to Warren's mistakes. So 156 yards of total offense for the Warren Dragons, 149 for the Huntington Bearcats. Warren with one turnover, that fumble that Dave and I really had a hard time picking up out here in the first half. Again, the side judge was coming in pointing that he was down, and we were confused by the down markers, and, hey, it happens. Huntington 3 penalties, 36 yards. Warren 4 for 18. Huntington does have the one interception that's thrown by Troha in the end zone. Individually for the Bearcats, Border 11 carries, 41 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Andrew Hootie 4 carries for 51 yards, and Drew Weglar's 2 carries for 11 yards. So we flip the side over and look at the rushing for Warren. Noah Myers 4 carries for 60 yards. Bryant 7 carries for 32. And Micah Passmore coming in, the freshman quarterback, 7 carries for 23 yards. So net yards passing for Huntington, Andrew Hootie, 6 of 10 for 52 touchdowns. Jonathan Price checking in 2 catches for 26 yards and catching one of those touchdowns. Andrew Miller, 1 catch for 12 yards and got the other touchdown grab. And Jacob Wagner, 1 catch for 10. Jarris Warner, 1 catch for 10. And Ben Briggs, 1 catch for 7 yards. For Warren, Cupchella, 2 of 5 for 41. Passmore 1 of 4 for 21. Ryan Arnold 1 catch for 39, and Davidson 1 catch for 20. Dave, usually I don't give defensive statistics because it's usually something you don't pay attention to, but tonight we are going to, because I want to point out that Huntington has 5 sacks on the evening, 7 tackles for loss, 1 block kick, and that fumble recovery. So when you start to look at the defensive side of the ball here a little bit tonight, you can easily see why. Along with the field position, Huntington is out to that 28-9 lead.
Well, of course, that first big block kick was on a punt, and that ended up giving the Bearcats the football at the 6-yard line of Warren right at the beginning of the game. And you also had a blocked point after that happened. And as I said during the broadcast there in the first half, it had to have their kicker, Seth Harrington, wondering what's it take to get a kick away in this football game. So it's been a little bit tough for him. I think my biggest question here heading into the second half is who do we have at quarterback for these two teams? Not looking good for Jake Kupchella. He's the starting quarterback, a 6'3 junior for Warren, and he went down on one of the plays, and when he got up, he looked a little woozy, and he ended up staying on the sidelines for the remainder of the first half. And not that Micah Passmore did a bad job coming in, but he was not, of course, the starting quarterback. So we'll see how that one plays out. On the Bearcat side of the football field, Andrew Hootie went down after a nice gain and ended up going to the sideline. Did get up and go off under his own power, but we ended up seeing Nick Troha come into the game then, and we'll see if Nick is going to be the guy that's going to run the second half here for the Bearcats. How much, Chad, would you say that because of the fact that you're headed toward the postseason, that you might be a little more reluctant to send Andrew Hootie back out there, depending on what kind of an injury it is, and just give him, this would then give him the rest of, this game and then a full week off. And by the way, here's Andrew Hootie leading the team out onto the field.
And I would say a lot of that is dependent on how confident you are with your backup quarterback. They've not been afraid to run him tonight at all throughout the first half. Again, he's Huntington's leading rusher, 4 carries for 51 yards, and they're good, hard runs. I look for Andrew to stay in the game until this game is put away on the scoreboard because they have confidence in Troha. And we've seen him, an errant pass down here tonight, but it's hard for a backup quarterback to come in and find his rhythm. It's a hard ask as soon as your starter goes down for you to come in and just kind of take control of the offense. Just snap your fingers and take control, kind of like a relief pitcher, a deal. I think you'll see him play until Huntington gets a bigger lead, and then they might yank him. But again, I think it all stems back to how much confidence you have in your backup quarterback, and I think Huntington has a lot in Troha.
Well, we'll see which way things turn out. The Bearcats will be getting the football to start the second half, so we'll see how that aspect of it plays out as the Bearcats get going. We want to say hello to Brian Smith listening on the TuneIn app tonight, and we appreciate anyone who has downloaded the TuneIn app and listens to the Bearcats on the airnetwork.net channel that is available with the TuneIn app. We have a lot of folks listening and checking in tonight, as we suspected it might be due to the distance of travel here to Warren. For me personally, it was a 3-hour flat trip from my house to here, and a couple of construction zones on the way, and somehow I managed to be in the right place at the right time and not catch a lot of schools letting out and school buses on the routes that I happen to travel, so I got lucky that way. And did see a ton of state police on Interstate 80, which surprised me, but nonetheless, they were out there enforcing the law on Interstate 80 on this particular Friday. So that's, it's a big trip, and there are Huntingdon fans here across the way from us. And another thing I wanted to point out, took a good look around the stands here at halftime. Chad, I'll tell you what, for a 2-7 team, the community here in Warren has come out to support these kids in a big way. This is a nice crowd for a team with that kind of a record.
And they said, I was talking to the athletic director down here prior to the game, and he said the community has always been very supportive of this team. They know it's a growing program. This is a first-year head coach after they fired the head coach from last season. They know that success could possibly be on the horizon as they're trying to build a strength program here at Warren to get the kids built up, because they have seen, that they've played with teams through the first 3 quarters of every game. But by the time the fourth quarter comes into play, that strength and conditioning kind of wears on a young club, and it's been wearing on Warren all year, where teams just kind of steadily pull away from them. So it's good to see the crowd out here in support of these kids, because let's remember, this is high school athletics, and you want to support these kids that are growing up in your hometown as much as possible, and it's really good to see that that's happening here in Warren.
Yeah, they aren't paid players, and it's good to see the support that people brought to tonight's game for the Warren Dragons. Of course, the big senior ceremony always draws out a lot of parents, too, of the kids. But to fill the stands the way they have here, and this is a nice-sized football field at Warren, to fill the stands up like they have, that means the community is out here supporting this football team.
Yep. And that's exactly right. And we're fortunate enough in Huntingdon to have the same thing. That regardless of the record, we've got great support for the Bearcats at home.
And don't forget, fans, stay tuned to the airnetwork.net. We'll keep you up to date as to when, when and who will be coming to town to take on the Bearcats in the opening round of the postseason. So stay tuned. We'll keep you up to date on all that information. And we can use your help, too, because we have these costs that seem to skyrocket once you get to the playoffs. Actually, we pay no fees to bring these games to you other than the exorbitant amount of money that Chad and I make.
Yes.
Anyway, you can help us defray the costs that we absorb from the PIAA in the upcoming playoff games by making a small contribution. Send whatever you can to Greg Banks, P.O. Box 56, Huntingdon, PA 16652. Kick is away, and that one's going to sail into and out of the back of the end zone. So,
and 3 guesses why, Dave.
The wind?
Wind. As we were looking at the American flag here at halftime, as Dave's able to actually step out and see it and say, wow, that's why Andrew Hoody's pass kind of fluttered up around. It's because it's a pretty stiff wind going on outside.
So that one goes out, and the Bearcats will start from their own 20 as it was Seth Harrington being able to get a heck of a kickoff away, and you'll take the win whenever you can. If it's going to help you out, that's a good thing. Just ask the Cubs. It wasn't quite good enough for them, though. All right, it is Andrew Hoody out there, and here goes Price. And the handoff goes to Weglars, I do believe. Drew's out over the 25, the 30, and the 35, and eventually brought down at about the 36-yard line. 16-yard gain for Drew Weglars on the first carry of the second half.
And every time we see him touch the ball, he is running the ball very, very hard. Great way to start the second half here for the Bearcats.
Quickly shuttling in with a play from the sideline is Andrew Miller, who has a touchdown catch on the night.
And I have a feeling we might see more of Weglars here in the second half.
Miller comes out wide along with Price and Wagner. Oh, on the near side of the field, Wagner goes back to the other side of the field, and here comes a blitz. Weglars gets out over the 35-yard line and is tripped up and brought down at about the 39. It'll be a gain of 3 and a 2nd and 7.
And he ended up running
into a flag comes in at the end.
But he ended up running into the back of Owen Kaufman. He's going for a lot more on that run.
Going in to try to get the sack was Ryan Monksgaard. And let's see what the penalty is all about. Face mask. That looked like is that a hold or a face mask?
That's a face mask.
Face mask against the Bearcats.
So he'll get the 3-yard rush, and it's going to be an inadvertent face mask, so it's a 5-yard penalty. And I'd imagine they will keep the down. Yep, so it'll remain first down.
First down and 12. Bearcats football at their own 34-yard line. They need to get out to the 46. It is 28-9. Bearcats with a lead. 11-14 left to go in the third quarter. The Bearcats trying to chew up some time here so they can keep that scoreless third quarter thing going. Hoody in the shotgun takes the snap. Hoody rolling to his right, lets it go downfield for Jake Wagner, and it is incomplete. A little bit too far for Wagner. Micah Passmore with the pressure for the Warren Dragons on Jake Wagner.
And that was a great job that time by Drew Weglars. Let me correct that. Drew Weglars picking up the linebacker, running a stunt in there to take out Hoody. Hoody was going to be in real trouble if Weglars isn't able to pick up that block. So running backs, sometimes not all the glory is set by running the football. Sometimes you got to do the little things to help out your offense, and that's what we saw out of Weglars that time. Good job.
One thing that Warren seems to have done is decided that they're going to send Ryan Monksgaard, number 16, in on as many blitzes as he can. There's a big pass completion by Andrew Hoody as he gets one to Miller, and Miller is down to the 39-yard line of Warren. Big completion to Andrew Miller on the far side.
That's a 27-yard pitch and catch that time from Miller and Hoody. So good job that time to be able to get out of the hole.
I think why that worked so well, Chad, was how quickly that Hoody got the pass off. The defender had no chance. He had no idea where the football was. The only guy that did know was Andrew Miller, and he catches it and goes for about maybe 6 yards after he caught it down to the 39 of Warren. First and 10, Bearcats. 28-9. It is the Bearcats with the lead. Man in motion is Weglars, and quickly handed off by Andrew Hootie. Weglars over the 35, the 30, 25, brought down at the 20 as the guy who had been blitzing, Ryan Monksgaard, is able to catch up with him and drop him at the 20-yard line. But another big gain for the Bearcats and a first down at the 20. It's red zone time again.
It is, and it's a 19-yard pickup that time by Weglars. He just keeps chugging along. You know, his legs never stop. He just keeps plugging away and moving those legs and running. He's now 5 carries for 49 yards for Drew Weglars on the game. Great job that time by the senior running back. Baseball player committed to Indiana University, Pennsylvania next year.
Attaboy. Weglars is in motion from right to left, and a timeout called by Hootie as he saw something that didn't necessarily jive with what play calling was going on. So that's one thing you got to give to Andrew Hootie. He is really observant out there on the field. Let's talk about a couple of things. Several Huntingdon supporters, according to Greg Banks, brought their RVs to Warren, and there was a tailgate party before the game tonight for the Huntingdon fans that made the trip to Warren. We have some scores for you at the half. Claysburg 14, Mount Union 14. How about that? Juniata Valley, well, we have a partial score. Thanks, Greg. Juniata Valley 35, Everett, period. Half, period. We don't know for sure what Everett has, but we do know Indiana Valley has 35. By the way, thanks to our Bearcat broadcast boosters, including Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223, D.C. Goodman and Sons and the Goodman family, Simone Chiropractic and Weight Loss, Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing, and All American Pizza and Subs.
Fortunately, I had the same app as Mr. Gregg, so we will try and check these scores. Central 34, Eastern York at 0, Chestnut Ridge all over Tyrone 35-7, Juniata 18, Upper Dauphin 7. It is Juniata Valley 35, Everett 6, Belfont 14, Baltimore area 6, Claysburg Kimmel 21, Mount Union 14, and Forest Hills 28, Bedford 7. So everything's holding steady as far as the District 6 standings go,
and we get a flag before the ball is even snapped, and it's an offside against Warren. As this has happened a couple of times to the Dragons, it'll be a 1st and 5 now for the Bearcats with the ball at the Dragons 15. Bearcats are moving from left to right here in the third quarter.
And these are mistakes that a young football team makes, Dave. And again, as they grow, as they learn to win, as they get in a weight room and start to build their strength program, which is exactly where Huntington was, 3-4 years ago, as you start to build that program, these types of mistakes will go away for this young ball club.
And here is Andrew Hootie. Back to pass. Looks for the corner. Throws it. It's caught in the end zone for what would be a touchdown, but a flag came in while the ball was in flight to Andrew Miller. Miller could have his second touchdown catch of the night, depending on the flag. It looks as though it's against Warren.
I'm pretty sure you're going to decline that penalty. I don't know really what the discussion is here.
No signal yet
Nothing
from
yet.
any of the officials as to it is a hold and it's against Warren. So as Chad said, that's one you decline. So it is a touchdown.
Shows the hands by the referee, and it is a touchdown
For Andrew Miller. So Miller with another touchdown catch tonight to make it 34-9 in favor of Huntingdon with 10:10 left to go in the third quarter. And the Bearcat defense will have to get things in gear if they're going to keep that shutout, that third quarter shutout for the season going. Because there's a lot of time on the clock for the Warren Dragons, and they have been moving the football relatively well. We'll see if their starting quarterback is able to come out. Tio Scotch is in for the point after out of the Jarris Warner hold. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Just inside that left upright again. As we mentioned, at times when Gio misses it is when he hooks it to the left, and it was headed that way, but he kept it between the two uprights, and the Bearcats have now taken a 35-9 lead. 10:10 left to go in the third quarter.
Andrew Hootie now 8 of 14, 107 yards and 3 touchdowns, and also 51 yards on the ground, so 158 total yards of offense for the junior quarterback. But we're also seeing a lot of good play out of some younger kids. This sophomore class It has a lot of good athletes in it. When we look at Isaiah Reed, we look at Andrew Miller out there, Giovanni Scaccia, Derek Fultz. We've called a lot of these names throughout the season, and they're going to be key as Huntingdon moves through the next couple of seasons. But this is a good-looking sophomore class out here for the Bearcats.
Let's see what that defense can do to continue to hold down Warren. By the way, Pitt Panthers and Virginia Cavaliers tomorrow at noon here on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM. Once again, the airtime is noon. There'll be a rebroadcast of the Bearcat football game against Warren coming up prior to that. And don't forget to join us then Monday night for Monday Night Sports Talk from 7 to 8 p.m. on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM. And apparently that holding penalty that was called wasn't refused because they were given the option of having that assessed on the kickoff, and that's what the Bearcats have done. So Gio will be teeing this up at the 50-yard line.
Kicking right out of the middle of the star in the middle of War Memorial Field.
And the ball falls over.
It does.
I don't know that it's necessarily wind-related. It could just be that Gio had a little bit of trouble getting that one down. There is still a breeze out there, though.
Yep. We're not
as you can hear on our crowd mic. It's not quite that bad. I turned it up real loud. But it is breezy here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yeah,
it's not cold for Week 10.
Amen to that. And here's a line drive by Scaccia. It's fielded at the 11-yard line, out over the 15, the 20, 25, 30, and finally pulled down by Jarris Warner, and a fumble on the way down. Did Huntingdon pick it up?
They're signaling
it could be another turnover, and it is. The officials say it's Bearcat football. Coming out of the pack with it is Jacob Wagner. And the Bearcats take over on a fumble on the kickoff return.
Opportunistic defense that time by the Bearcats, and
great
special teams is they stripped that football away. I'm not sure who caused the fumble, who took the strip away, but right at the near sideline here, and Huntingdon is able to regain possession. And
a cramp of one of the Bearcats, Jarris Warner, down on the field, pops up and will now be helped over to the Bearcat sideline, keeping his right leg up off of the turf as he hops with his left leg. And now Coach Hootie comes out to help Jarris, and now he gets further assistance as Coach Hootie heads back.
And let's hope that's just a cramp.
I hope so. They kind of stretched him a little bit there on the sideline, but he is very reluctant to put that right foot down on the turf at this point. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how Jarris does on the sideline. Right now his team has the football 1st and 10 at the 33 of Warren, up by a score of 35-9 with 10 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Big turnover. And as Chad said, opportunistic.
Huntington now with 244 yards of total offense in the game. But Andrew Miller fast becoming one of Hootie's favorite targets here.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that at all. Miller only a sophomore, but 3 catches, 54 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So Andrew Miller having a very productive evening tonight.
6'3" will elevate you to a favorite receiver in a hurry.
Those of you who know Andrew's dad, he's a state cop, and he's a very big dude in his own right. So Andrew gets his height
genetically.
Well, and from his mom's side, too, as Linda's a Mouchin, and the Mouchins were great at basketball. So he's got height running in the family there.
First play from scrimmage this time around leads to, I do believe, Alex Micah jumping offside into the Warren line. And so it's a false start against the Bearcats and a 1st down and 15 as Andrew Hootie goes over toward the Huntingdon sidelines to pick up a play to run here. 10 minutes left to go, 35-9, Bearcats with the lead. Greg Bank tells us it's West Branch 27, Tussey Mountain 14. That game is in the 4th quarter.
Wow.
How'd they do that?
They're running the football and
I guess
chewing up clock.
And back to pass, it's Hootie. Hootie goes down the field. It is complete to Alex Micah. Micah brought down at the 5-yard line with a touchdown-saving tackle by the quarterback, Micah Passmore.
A great seam route that time ran by Micah, and Andrew Hootie found him wide open.
And Passmore is down. That looks like a cramp, and he's going to go back over. He wants to continue to play, but the trainer had to come out onto the field, and they had to stop the clock, so he's going to have to come off, and he does.
Well, they can ill afford to lose him because he's the backup quarterback because of Cupcella going down.
And taking a quick look at the sideline, Cupcella is down there on the sideline. He's wearing a baseball cap at this point. And right now, Warren has yet to touch the football in the second half. Right now, the Bearcats, 1st and goal from the 5. Andrew Hootie with the I formation. Man in motion, Briggs. Hands the ball off to Weglars. Weglars, touchdown. Just like that.
Just walked right through that initial hit that time. It was number 54 from Warren coming up. Mason Benjamin, 5'11", 270 pounds, to make the initial hit basically at the line of scrimmage. And Weglar shoved it right off and just kept his feet grinding in for the 5-yard touchdown run.
Drew has that strength, too.
He does.
He has shown us that throughout the course. Jarris Warner, of course, the holder for Gio Scaccia, went off the field injured, and now there's confusion as to who the backup holder is going to be for Gio Scaccia, and emerging out onto the field would appear to be Owen Lane. No, I'm sorry, it's going to be Jonathan Price. Price comes in to hold for Gio Scaccia this time around.
This will be interesting.
And the kick is up, and the kick is good by Scaccia, and it makes the score. Bearcats 42 and Warren 9 with 9:23 left to go in the third quarter. Still a lot of time. And once again, the Bearcats, now if they keep taking the ball away from Warren, they won't have to worry about that scoreless third quarter that the defense has to come up with.
No, and a field goal would put this to a continuous clock. So Huntingdon only 3 points away from moving this to a continuous clock ordeal here. But,
Mike
again,
Honstein is listening, and apparently I'm not familiar with the way the spelling of the name gets pronounced in Huntingdon, so I know I'm saying it correct because I was admonished severely by Greg Banks for not saying Honstein's name correctly last week. Mike, we're glad you're out there listening. Sorry I botched your name a week ago. So consider me whipped right on the air.
Mike doing it. He's the manager at the Uptown Sheets and does a great job up there. Always good to see his smiling face whenever you walk in the morning and need that big old cup of Joe or cappuccino or whatever I'm going to grab on my way to work.
Attaboy, Mike.
Gotta love Sheets.
9:23 left, third quarter, and it's been all Bearcats here in the second half as they were leading 28-9 going into halftime, now up 42-9. And Gio Scaccia has it teed up at the 40. We're ready to go.
Kicking directly into the wind here is Gio.
Cole Nozzle, the deep back to receive. Gio hits a line drive, bounces at the 26, and is picked up by one of the upbacks who gets out to the 35-yard line and is brought down that time by Drew Weglars with a special team stop. Ryan Arnold with a return, and it will be 1st and 10. Warren ball at their own 36.
And we're see if this third quarter scoring drought by the opposition, by the Huntingdon defense against the opposition can continue. That's the I don't want to jinx it here, but it's a special looking stat, Dave. It just doesn't happen that often. I know Penn State's riding that in the first quarter. They've outscored their opponents 90-0. So it's just something that doesn't happen that often.
Micah Passmore continuing at quarterback for the Dragons, hands the ball off to Marvin Bryant. Bryant moved forward a little bit, maybe picked up a yard, maybe 2, and then is knocked back. Forward progress marks him down at the 37-yard line. Make that the 38, so it's a gain of 2 and a 2nd and 8.
Yeah, great job that time by Ryan Corey, Drew Weglars, and Andrew Finkel coming up for the tackle. We don't talk enough about the job that Ryan Corey has done at this middle linebacker position, but he leads the team in tackles. He is a sideline-to-sideline linebacker that doesn't miss a thing. This kid is a special football player, and is the reason, one of the bigger reasons why this defense has just been outstanding all season long.
Cole Nozzle in motion, sets up as a wide receiver in this formation. And pitch by Passmore goes back to Noah Myers. He gets out over the 40 and is brought down at about the 42. That'll be a gain of 4, and it will be a third down now, and about 4 to go for the Warren Dragons.
And here's the puzzling thing for me, Dave. That's Myers' fifth carry, only the second one since he broke the 56-yard touchdown run at the 6-minute mark in the first quarter. He's only touched the ball twice since then, and this is a 1,200-yard running back. So really not sure why Warren isn't trying to incorporate him more into the offense at this point, specifically since Cupcella went down.
Possibly he's not feeling all that well. We don't see him taped up anywhere in particular, so
just a little interesting.
And there's a fumble on the snap, and falling on top of it is quarterback Micah Passmore. It'll be a loss of a couple, and set up a 3rd down and 6 now from the 40-yard line. You know it's windy when you see the officials down in the field and their pants are fluttering in the wind. So you know it's pretty breezy when that's going on.
Yeah, but it's not 30 degrees breezy, so it's a whole different. It's unbelievably nice up here tonight for the 10th week in this season. When you're looking at the end of October, you're thinking it's going to be really cold, and it's not.
4th down and into kick is Seth Harrington. Had a punt blocked earlier, almost blocked that one. Kicks it toward the sideline. It goes out of bounds, so Jonathan Price has no opportunity to return. That's a good choice by Warren, and he got a pretty decent kick out of it. It goes out of bounds at the 23. So Bearcat football 1st and 10 from their own 23, up 42-9, 7 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter, and the defense, once again, keeping Warren off the scoreboard. Now there's 7 minutes left to go. With the right kind of running game down the field, the Bearcats could chew up most of the 3rd quarter clock at this point, and I don't think there's anybody on the coaching staff that's worried about a 3rd quarter shutout record going through the regular season, but it's kind of neat, though.
It is. It is neat, and it's not something that happens all often. And at the beginning of a half, too. So
Andrew Hootie, the ball carrier, over the 25, the 30, 40, 45, 50. At the 40 of Warren, he could go all the way down to the 5 and into the end zone. A little high step at the end. The only guy that could have caught him was Mitchell Bryant. And Chad quickly looked back over the field and found out there were no flags down. And the defense says, thanks. It took a total of 13 seconds off the clock.
77-yard touchdown run for Andrew Hootie.
Andrew Hootie takes off, and whatever problem he had on that one rushing play back there in the 2nd quarter did not impede him at all that time. And he got off on a foot race, and there was nothing Mitchell Bryant could do to catch him. That's something I suppose that we don't often talk about with Hootie. Gio Scotch's point after attempt is good, and it makes the score Bearcats 49 and Warren 9, so I guess we go to the rolling clock now, right?
Yep, sure do.
So keep that in mind. By the way, you can help us defray costs that will be incurred, that we have to pay the PIAA for the upcoming playoff game coverage here on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon. You can make a small contribution and send whatever you can to Greg Banks at P.O. Box 56, Huntingdon, PA 16652. All contributions from alums, groups, or organizations will be acknowledged during the broadcasts here on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon. I want to take you back and remind you of something that is coming up tomorrow on this very same broadcast facility. It is going to be Pee Wee Football Super Bowl Day.
The future of Huntington Bearcats, right there.
At Warvets Field tomorrow. That's when this activity will be going on. Jeff Speck will have all the action of the varsity game tomorrow night at 7 here on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon. Stay tuned as we keep you up to date with all things Huntingdon that are going on in the sports world. Don't forget boys and girls hoops and wrestling. I'll bring you the hoops, and Chad will bring you the wrestling. Well, wrestling's a little bit different.
Yes.
That's where they jump off the second rope and drop elbows.
Huntington sporting one of the finer programs in the state. As they just graduated, 2-time state champ Jake Oliver. He will take his talents to University of Edinburgh, most likely redshirt this year in the 174-pound weight class. But Huntingdon has just had some great wrestlers over the course of the last 5-6 years.
Now a fighting Scott.
He is a fighting Scott.
Which, by the way, I thought it was kind of a wind gust, that is, blows the ball off the tee. I thought it was interesting. I saw an ad for Edinburgh during a Penguins game the other night. And, of course, they're touting the fact, Scots and all that. And they had a redheaded girl dressed in a plaid skirt.
Wow.
Just not saying much about stereotypes, but still, I'm just saying. Here's the kickoff from Gio Scaccia. End over end. Hits at the 20-yard line. Is scooped up by Marshall Bryant. Bryant gets out over the 20, spins, and eventually cannot get his legs underneath and gets over the 25 and is brought down at about the 28-yard line. That's where Warren will take over. Make it the 29. So about a 9-yard return that time for Mitchell Bryant, and there is a flag on the play, and I think it's against Warren as I see them traipsing back toward the end zone. And we'll see what the white hat has to say about this particular piece of laundry.
That's a 15-yard penalty.
Back to the 10.
Wow. Actually, it's a spot foul, so it's more of a 10-yard penalty.
Illegal block in the back, and it takes it back to the 11-yard line. 1st and 10. So
not what they needed to have happen.
No. Rolling clock is rolling from 6:34 now with a 49-9 Bearcat lead. Let's see if the Bearcat defense is up to our self-imposed task on them to continue the shutout in the third quarter. And Passmore fumbles on the handoff, and he has to fall on it at about the 9-yard line. Maybe back to, nope, it's going to be the 9. Yep. It's a loss of 2 and a 2nd down and 12. And Passmore had looked pretty good coming in to relieve tonight's starter, Jake Cupcella. Cupcella went down with what and we're just assuming, and by the way, I see Cupcella on the sideline with, I don't think he has his shoulder pads on anymore.
No, he's done for the evening.
He's done for the evening, and we thought that it may end up in a concussion protocol. That appears to be what it is. Clock rolling at 5:45. Passmore, hands off. Out over the 10, the 15, the 20, 25, 30, and eventually forced out of bounds, that is, by Jonathan Price, as Noah Myers is the ball carrier that time for a Warren Dragons first down, 1st and 10 at their own 31. So give him a big pickup of 22 yards on that carry.
Yeah, Myers now up to 86 yards on 6 carries, but I just don't understand why he only has 6 carries in this ball game. It just puzzles me as to why you wouldn't want to try to put the ball in his hands more than your other running backs. I know you want to try to keep the defense honest, but Myers has tremendous speed to the outside, Dave.
1st and 10 at the 31-yard line, and the handoff goes to Myers again. And Myers is loose over the left side, down to the 40 of the Bearcats, and is pulled down. Jacob Wagner fought off a block and was able to wrap up Myers at the 36-yard line of the Bearcats, but a big gainer that time by Myers. And I say a touchdown-saving tackle.
Absolutely.
By Wagner that time.
34 more yards for the running back as he now crosses over the 100-yard mark with 120 on the game. And Warren is threatening here at the 36-yard line.
Many former Bearcats that tune into the broadcast, and we have one tonight, Huntingdon County Commissioner Mark Sather. So thanks for all you do, Mark. Happy to have you aboard the broadcast tonight on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM. Passmore. And it's a fumble on the handoff. Who has it? There's still a scrap for it on the field at the 37, and the Bearcats get it back. As I think that scooped up by Mike.
It looks like Alex Mikett with the fumble recovery. So
Mikett continues to have an outstanding game, and the Bearcats, after giving up some big chunks of yardage and looking like this third quarter shutout thing may have come to an end up recovering a fumble and take over at their own 37.
It's the 4th fumble for Warren on the evening, the 3rd one lost. And you're right, Dave. That just when Warren looked like they were, driving the ball well, getting, Myers was ripping off big chunks of yardage.
30 yards.
Yeah, 22 yards on one carry, 34 yards on another, and they hand the ball off to Bryant, and he coughs it up, and the opportunistic defense of Huntingdon rises to the occasion again. New quarterback Nick Troha in.
Troha in. Here comes the blitz. Handoff to Weglars. Weglars over the 35, up to the 40, 45, out to midfield, into Warren territory, and Drew Weglars eventually brought down at the 47-yard line, almost the 46, but we're going to call it the 47. The flag flies in at the end of the play, and there's an umpire pointing at the Bearcats, so we'll see what this is all about, as our neighbors to the north would like to say. That could be against Coach Hootie at that point.
I don't know. Now they're asking a player to leave, so they just ejected number 7.
Cole Nozzle.
Looks like Cole Nozzle just got tossed from the game, so we'll see.
Yep, he's still hanging out here on the sideline. Well, so another flag comes in, and right around that area for the Dragons, Andrew Egger, number 78.
See how they sort all this out. If it just
this is going to take a while here.
Yeah, we got some time to talk.
The rolling clock stopped at 4:05 because they're going to have to sort this out in the courts. Maybe may have to call in a district justice to figure out what's going on.
Well, not Kerry Weglar is now 70 yards as he becomes the Bearcats' second leading runner. I do want to point out that Andrew Hootie with 268 total yards of offense tonight, 128 on the ground and 140 through the air. So the junior quarterback having quite the night here in Week 10 against Warren.
The new quarterback, Nick Troha, in there, and we find out that Nick's mom is listening to our broadcast. And we're sorry, Mrs. Troha, that you have to put up with such inferior talent doing the football game for you, but this is the best we can do. Well, the penalty is marked off against Warren, and it ends up down at the Dragons 32, and here comes another penalty on top of that, probably another 15, taking it back to the 17.
Yep.
So frustration rearing its ugly head with the Warren Dragons, and they're still going. There's a third penalty now. Half the distance takes it back to the 8-yard line. So this was reminiscent of the Bearcats taking over on the 6 of Warren earlier on a block punt. First down and goal for the Bearcats with the ball at the 7-yard line. 7.5 would be technically where it would be.
10 penalties now for 81 yards because of 3 of them right there.
Bang, bang, bang.
Wow, that is 38 yards of penalties right there.
Yeah.
Just on that. So Warren kind of losing their cool here this evening, and I believe number 7 did get ejected because he's standing over here on the sidelines right now. So I don't know if he has to leave the field in high school football, and I know you do in college, but
and a timeout is called by Warren. Good Lord. Confusion abounds here in the third quarter. 3:54 left to go, and of course we had been talking about that rolling clock, and it's been doing anything but here in the third quarter. Interesting note, though, is it is still a shutout quarter for the Huntingdon Bearcat defense. Tomorrow at noon, it's Bearcat football wrapping up. And then you'll hear Pitt Panthers and Virginia Cavaliers football. Airtime set at noon. The Bearcat broadcast precedes that here on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM. Also, be sure to join us Monday night for Sports Talk right here in the airnetwork.net, 7 to 8. You can also catch Monday night Sports Talk on 94.1 FM. You're invited to join the discussion.
Yes.
Anytime.
I got a young man at the house that's probably going to join us the next time we have our roundtable discussion. So
he may elucidate on baseball.
He may.
We'll see. We're going to try to fit him into one of our football broadcasts here.
Yep. So, son, if you're listening, warm up your lips, buddy, because we're going to try and get you in on the next home football game.
Well, don't have to worry so much about your lips, but your vocal cords. Drew Weglars takes the handoff from Nick Troha and gets down over the 5-yard line, eventually brought down at about the 3, it looks like. If so, it would be a gain of 5, and a second down and goal from the 3.
So Weglar is having a very nice game here. 8 carries, 75 yards as it looks like Borders over there not in. I don't even know if he's dressed for the second half. Andrew Hootie's night most likely done here as starting to get in some
Jarvis Warner's night is done too, as he has crutches over there.
Yeah,
on the
I hate to
sideline.
see that. So
here's a handoff. Weglars keeps fighting. They had him there at about the 1 yard line, and he just kept driving. He had nothing touched. His knees didn't touch his body. He swam into the end zone from the 1.
He was kind of laying on a Warren player. And you're right. He kind of just swam right over top of him from about the 1 to get that ball straight in there. But that's just a never say die attitude out of Drew that we've seen all season long. Always constantly moving. And that's what you need out of a running back.
Kid has a nose for the end zone,
Absolutely.
and the Bearcats have a nose for points tonight, 55 of them so far.
This is the 8th touchdown scored.
And this would be point number 56 if Gio Scotcha can get it through. And a flag comes in. The point after attempt is good, but a flag came in right after Gio Scotcha let that go, and the Bearcats started to vacate the field, but now they stop. And they're going to see it is good, and whatever penalty there was is going to be against Warren and will be assessed on the kickoff. So there you go. By the way, speaking of a creator, the creator, Greg Banks, is going to have his own radio show.
Oh, good for Greg. Again.
The Greg Banks Show debuting Monday, November 6th from 10 a.m. to noon weekdays. Greg will be talking about just about anything. That'll include, just general topics, things going on around Huntingdon. There will probably be a little political conversation come into the fray there as well. So call Greg and join the conversation weekdays. And once again, that'll be November 6th. It'll be the start date, 10 a.m. to noon. You never know if I'm not catching large fish.
You've been known to do that.
I may join him.
We've seen the proof. You've been known to do that.
So once again, that'll be on the airnetwork.net and locally on 94.1 FM. Juniata Valley up 46-6 over Everett in the fourth quarter. I think that one is pretty well done right here. It's 56-9 as the Bearcats are leading Warren, and another 15-yarder set up against Warren, taking the ball from the kickoff spot of the 40-yard line of Huntingdon to the 45 of Warren for Gio Scotcha.
11 penalties, 96 yards now, so it's really starting to stack up against them. Again, we had said this is a young football team. Mistakes are going to happen, and they're going to grow from this as the program starts to move forward under a new coaching staff. I'm sure that it's frustrating out here for the players and for the coaching staff to be on the opposite end of the scoreboard, but as time goes on, as these guys start to feel how can we win a football game, these types of mistakes will go away.
3:11 left to go in the third quarter. Scotch's kickoff drives one that hits at the 6, bounces, rolls into the end zone, and they're more than happy to just let it do that as Cole Nozzle just watches that go into the end zone. So he was not thrown out of the game.
Nope.
So he was just,
but the referee
did draw the flag.
Yeah, and the referee did point to him and ask him. I saw him point and say go to the sideline, so not quite sure what that was all about, but
Nozzle's still in the game.
Good to see that he's still out there. Unless he's just sneaking on, but
I don't think so. I think they would remember him.
Number 7's here on the sidelines.
No, he just came over.
Did he just come over? Yep.
So there you go. Clock rolling now, as it should, with the Bearcats up 56-9. 3 minutes left to go in the third quarter here at War Memorial Field in Warren. And a whistle blows before the play starts.
And it's
a false start against Warren. And one of the things, the big key word that you brought out there, keyword or word of the day when it comes to this particular football game and as it applies to the Warren Dragons is frustration. I feel for the young guys out there as well, but hopefully they're going to learn the lesson here and try to play a clean fourth quarter and avoid any more mistakes. Here's the handoff to Myers as he gets out over the 20 and then continues to try to fight for yardage. And the Bearcats make sure he gets out of bounds, and he was eventually knocked out there by Draven Zook. And the fans were all over Zook. That's not a late hit. He was still in play.
Still in bounds. It's hard to see down here at the sidelines, but he was still in play with that. So absolutely.
And he gets out to the 24-yard line. So he picks up 9 on the carry and a second down now and 6.
Well, big score. Houston leads the Dodgers 4-0.
Well, it's a 4-0 lead for the Astros over the Dodgers, as we just heard over the PA.
You saw that Sports Illustrated cover where somebody back 3 years ago predicted they would win this World Series. That's just crazy.
Minute 46 left in the third quarter, and the handoff is good for a first down carry as Noah Myers.
Hey, he's a good-looking running back.
Yes,
Dave.
He is.
Very much so.
Wouldn't you like to have him and Ian Border in the same backfield?
Absolutely. It's another 12-yard run, and he is up to 100. Get that total here real quick. 141 yards on the night.
Minute 29 left in the third quarter. Bearcats trying to preserve their scoreless regular season third quarter defensive activities. Handoff goes to Myers again. He gets over the 35 and out to about the 37-yard line. So that'll be a gain of 3 and a second down and 7. And it looks like, and it's as once again, this is more something I guess that Chad and I, and maybe you fans out there, are proud of the Huntingdon Bearcat defense. For coaching staff, players, I don't know that it means as much to them as it may mean to us. Having a regular season of 10 games with a scoreless third quarter. Here's a handoff to Myers, and Myers is only going to pick up a couple this time as he gets out to about the 39-yard line, so it's going to set up a third down and 5. And let's see, maybe the 38.
Yeah, give him 1 on that carry.
Just 1 on the carry, so make it a third and a short 6.
Time keeps going down, so I'm wanting to put that big old goose egg underneath that 3 here on the score sheet.
You can do that. You can do that.
One Myers run away from that not happening. He's the only threat to make that.
By the way, another score, McCourt leading Penn Cambria 41-6. I don't know that is necessarily any kind of surprise. This time the quarterback keeps, and it is Micah Passmore with carry out to the 39, a gain of 1, and the third quarter clock has expired, and the Bearcats have done it. A full regular season of 10 games holding the opposition scoreless in the third quarter. That is the end of the third quarter, and the score, Bearcats 56, Warren 9. Back with the fourth quarter after this on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon. D.C. Goodman & Sons and the Goodman family are committed and dedicated to excellence by supporting quality education and athletics for all youth of Huntingdon County. For over 3 generations, D.C. Goodman & Sons and their staff of quality tradesmen have provided excellent service in the installation of plumbing, mechanical and industrial piping, electrical, and fire sprinkler systems. Residential services are also available. D.C. Goodman & Sons and the Goodman family will continue to serve the community, and thank you for your support. The Goodman family wishes you the best to all area students in your pursuit of excellence. All-American Pizza and Subs in downtown Huntingdon at 612 Washington Street is the home of the new Bearcat Sub. Enjoy mozzarella cheese with bacon, crispy chicken, sour cream and chive fries, and our top-selling wing flavor, Mactown Gold, all wrapped on a fresh homemade roll. Try the Bearcat plus our many other great pizzas and subs at All-American Pizza and Subs. Don't forget their new Pepsi flavor shots, too. All-American Pizza and Subs will donate $1 for every pizza sold during October, with proceeds going toward breast cancer research. Call 643-0222 for delivery. Open till 9, closed Mondays.
Hi, I'm Drew Weglars, and you're listening to the Huntington Bearcats on airnetwork.net.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Weglars. Certainly the star of the game here since he has come in. A great game for Ian Border, wrapping up some big yardage.
Well,
and then
Andrew Hootie. Just tremendous tonight, though, too, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a nice offensive attack and a great thing to see as a comeback game after that first loss of the season to Central last week. Now, one of the things we did mention, Mrs. Troha's name is Jennifer, so thank you, Jennifer Troha, for listening to the game. As your son is quarterbacking, and he quickly hands the ball off. And that is Weglar's, is
That's
it?
Draven Zook, I
That's
believe.
Draven Zook as he gets out over the 40 and out to about the 48-yard line. A first down and 11 yards on the carry. First and 10 Bearcats football at their own 48-yard line. These are all good things for the Bearcats to have these guys in there, have Troha picking up the experience here. As Andrew Hootie is going to have another year. He's a junior this year. That's hard to believe, too.
Yeah, well,
what a composed young man.
Hootie is back. Wagner is back. When you start looking at the running back position, Zook is back. So, you've got some good speed sitting out here. Miller's back as a wide receiver. So this is a good team that's going to return next year as well.
Troha with the snap at his feet and wisely just falls on top of it, because one of the things that Warren has been trying to do here in the second half is certainly do a lot of pass rushing on Huntingdon. They've done it both with Andrew Hootie out there and now with Nick Troha, and it's been Ryan Monksgaard, number 16, who's been assigned as the guy to blitz. And he's been trying to get a sack in the backfield, and it's not happened. That time, just a bad snap right down at the feet of Nick Troha, and he ends up losing a couple of yards on that. It sets up a second down and 16 with the ball at the Bearcats 42. Oh my, handoff from Troha as he hands it to Andrew Finkel, and Finkel was met in the backfield by Monksgaard, as all that blitzing prepared him for a run blitz, I guess you could say that time. And it's another 5-yard loss, and it brings up third down in New York State.
Bigler. We can officially say Bigler tonight because we had to go through that again. So,
well, Bigler would be that way, though.
Well, that's true.
That would be, going that way. That way is New York State. So we have to say third down in New York State.
I'll say third down in Perkins because it's that way.
Third down in Perkins.
How's that game?
I like it.
That's what I'm looking forward to here.
And a bad snap again. Troha picks it up, though. Throws the pass. Complete to Price at about the 34-yard line of Warren. Good enough for a Bearcats first down on 3rd and 21.
Wow, great grab. Good turn and look that time by Price. As Tro had the sensibility to pick up that ball and immediately look downfield for a receiver. He found Price wide open here on the near sideline and a 29-yard pickup.
By the way,
first down.
I know we've said it. I don't know if we say it enough. Nick Troha is a very accurate passer.
Yes.
I mean, that was exactly where it needed to be. And I'm not taking any, believe me, Andrew Hootie is a very accurate passer. Troha, for the young guy and the guy that's not starting, is, after all, he is a sophomore, and here comes the blitz attempt again, and I do believe that it is an offside against Warren, so add to their frustrations here in the second half.
13.
Good Lord.
Coming up for 106 yards.
And you kind of wonder at this point if, you're on the coaching staff of Warren, and I know you wanted to try to accomplish something here with the blitzing, but it's like I'd just say, okay, let's just finish the game off here.
Let's run down some quick scores. Chestnut Ridge over Tyrone in the fourth quarter, 35-21. Belfont, 35-14 over Baltimore area. Mount Union is losing to Claysburg Kimmel in the fourth quarter, 34-14. Central has defeated Eastern York 41-0.
Troha back to pass is hit, and it's going to be a fumble.
Yes,
he was trying to go forward, but he never really completed any kind of motion. He's hit. The ball is fumbled, and it's picked up by Evan Tremblay. Tremblay recovers at the 40-yard line of the Warren Dragons. And it's first and 10 as Warren has the first real good positive thing that's happened to them since back in the first quarter.
Yep. So continue running down these scores. Juniata 32, Upper Dauphin 13. That is a final. Forest Hills 47-7 over Bedford. That is a final. Juniata Valley 49, Everett 6. So right now, as I'm looking at these scores, Dave, and I'm just doing it in my head, Huntington is going to hold on to the top seed. Forest Hills will finish second, Central third. It looks like Juniata will come in fourth, Baltimore fifth, and Tyrone will get that sixth seed.
Here's a handoff, and this time it goes to Marvin Bryant. Bryant gets out near midfield. Needed to get to the 50 for a first down. He got to the 49 and sets up A second down and a yard.
So what that means is next week, Baltimore area will travel to Juniata to play in a District 6 quarterfinal matchup, and Tyrone will travel to Central to play in a District 6 quarterfinal matchup. Huntington will get the winner of the Juniata Baltimore area game, and Forest Hills will get the winner of the Central Tyrone game, as Huntington and Forest Hills will have a bye week next week.
Game and another handoff, this time going back to Noah Myers. Myers gets the first down yardage for the Dragons and more as he goes into Bearcat territory and is marked out of bounds at the 46-yard line. That'll be a gain of 5 and a 1st and 10 for the Dragons. There is a flag down here at the 47-yard line, and they're pointing toward Warren.
Of course there is.
Personal foul against the Dragons.
And that's it. He tagged off at the end of the run.
What a shame.
The referee kind of tepidly said that down there, Dave. As you looked, he went kind of like a personal foul, real cautiously against his wrist, then lightly pointed over towards Warren. So it was almost like he wasn't sure that the referee or that the penalty was going to happen, but most assuredly it will. Penalty number 14 for the Dragons, running their total to 121 yards of penalties, Dave. That's.
By the way, we're going to go silent here for a second.
Personal foul call against the Dragons. The officials are getting their miles in tonight, marking out penalties.
Clock rolling, 7.5 left to go in the game. And here's the handoff, and that is once again to Noel. That's Cole Nozzle, as Nozzle gets down over the 40 to the 38-yard line of the Bearcats and picks up a first down. So he got back that personal foul yardage and a bunch more.
23-yard pickup by Nozzle. As time continues to tick away here, fourth quarter, 7:16 left on the clock.
And it is rolling with that 56-9 Bearcat lead. So the next time we'll be with you for Bearcat football is going to be in a couple of weeks.
Yes, we're having an off
week. Bye week.
An off week, and I have
handoff once again to Nozzle, and he's going to be met in the backfield. What great defensive penetration that time for the Bearcats. Landon Fisher back there to bring down Nozzle for no gain.
Yeah, it was Fisher and Fultz and Isaiah Reed in there on that tackle. So I'll have to figure out, Dave, what I'm going to do with my Friday night. Maybe that'll be part of the topic of sports. Our sports talk this week is what will Chad and Dave do with a free Friday night? I have my ideas.
I think we should go to All-American Pizza.
I have my ideas.
6:20 left to go in the game. 56-9 Bearcats with the lead, and it's the handoff to the first back through. A nice fake by Micah Passmore. I was following him. I thought he was going to pitch to Nozzle, but instead he handed off. And let's see, did he hand that off to Myers?
Yeah, no, to Bryant.
Marvin Bryant picks up 4 to set up a 3rd down and 6. And the ball at the 34-yard line of the Bearcats. All the points for Warren scored back in the first quarter. They scored 9 tonight. The Bearcats have scored throughout the game to come up with their 56. And once again, it's a handoff to Nozzle. And I'll tell you what, he shook off about 2 tackles there and eventually got down over the 45. They'll mark him down at the, 35. Mark him down at the 33-yard line.
Yeah, he'll pick up one on that.
1 yard gain and a 4th and 5. And, of course, they're going to go for it.
Sure. They should. This is potentially the last or next to last drive of the season for Warren, as they will conclude their football campaign tonight. With a 2-8 record, Huntington will improve to 9-1. Again with a bye next week.
And the Bearcats may have jumped across into the neutral zone. Nope, it's another false start against Warren. Wow. Just a tough game for those young men tonight.
Sure is. You grow through pain, and that's exactly what we're going to see out of Warren.
Yet another penalty.
Houston and the Dodgers in the World Series. Stros are up 4-0 that game in the third. They're at Minute Maid Park. It's going to be tough for the Dodgers there. They are good, are the Astros there. Once again, it is Nozzle, and Nozzle will get over the line of scrimmage and pick up about 3, and it was 4th down, so that's not enough, and the Bearcats will take over with 4:45 left to go in the game, up 56-9.
And if you remember me talking about the speed that Ryan Corey brings to play from the linebacker position, you saw it exactly right there as he chased Nozzle down all the way over to the sideline and limited him to a 2-yard gain. Ryan Corey is as good a linebacker as I've seen this year, sideline to sideline, being able to track runners down. He's Bearcats' leading tackler for a reason, and that's one of them right there, as his speed is tremendous.
Rebroadcast of tonight's game at 11 o'clock, and then tomorrow morning at about 9 in the morning, you'll be able to hear it again. Handoff, and this one goes out over the 45 to about the 48-yard line. Draven Zook, the ball carrier, as Draven gets first down yardage on that carrier. Goes out of bounds, but because of the rolling clock rule, it starts going here. 4:13 left to go in the football game.
And it's a great rule. I'm so glad that they have that implemented in high school football, because games like tonight can get out of hand in a hurry if you stop the clock, or it just takes forever to get down. So it's a great rule to have in high school football.
Quarterback Nick Troha, and he is flanked by Andrew Finkel. And it's Finkel with the ball carrier. 40, 30, down to the 25-yard line goes Andrew Finkel.
Wow.
As he rips off a nice gain right over the middle of the line and is eventually brought down. They're going to mark him down at the 26-yard line of Warren.
It's the biggest gain for Andrew Finkel all year long. It's a 26-yard run. A tough run that time by the junior running back. Strong safety. He's no more noted for his defense than he is for his offense, but a good run that time by Andrew Finkel.
So Finkel gets the first down, 1st and 10. Bearcats ball at the 26 of Warren. Troha. Oh, my. Little false start.
This one will be against Huntingdon.
Yes, it will. As jumping across the line there was Draven Zook in a hurry. And Draven maybe trying to get an advantage on one of the defenders to perhaps be part of a pass play there. 5-yard penalty takes it back to the 31 and a 1st and 15 for the Bearcats. Clock is right down around 3 minutes left to go in the game. Bearcats lead at 56-9 and will end up 9-1 in 2017 on the regular season.
Not a bad record, Dave. Not a bad record at all.
Troha's pass is complete to Zook. Zook gets to the 31-yard line, the line of scrimmage, and is brought down. No gain, 2nd and 15.
Evan Tremblay on the tackle.
So Tremblay with the stop for Warren, and a 2nd down and 15.
Time continues to kick off the clock. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go here at War Memorial Field. And Dave, this is a great field. I mean, you know, the facilities here are very, very nice. Warren, PA should be very proud of themselves as to the facility they have here.
And their fans deserve a pat in the back for coming out to support this team on a senior night.
Yep, and so do ours for the ones that made it, because it's a 3-hour trip. And
yeah, it's a hoof.
You know.
Here goes the handoff, and this one is to Finkel. Finkel is down to the 10-yard line, and a touchdown-saving tackle comes from the guy that's been in question as to whether he got thrown out or not. He obviously did, as Cole Nozzle is able to pull him down. And they'll mark him down at the 10, right at the 10. So it is 1st and goal for the Bearcats at the 10. And we'll see what plays get called here as we're down to 1:45 left to go in the game. 56-9. Bearcats with the lead. Nick Troha, the quarterback. He started about midway through the 3rd quarter and has carried the team thus far toward the end of the game. Big game for Hootie. Hand off to Finkel. Finkel cuts inside, continues to keep those legs driving, gets down over the 5 to about the 4. I'll tell you what, Chad, he picked up 2-3 yards because of that drive, keeping those legs going.
Yeah, and that puts Huntingdon at 300 yards rushing for the night as a team. So good job that time by Andrew Finkel as he keeps on chugging along here. It's you can't say enough about how this Bearcat offense needed to come out tonight
and have a game,
and they did. They absolutely did. Specifically with what happened last week, they needed to come out and have a game and show, hey, we've still got this.
And here comes a run blitz, and it's very effective for Warren this time, as it'll be a loss of about 2 or 3 yards on the play, depending on where it's going to be a loss of 2 back to the 6.
And I think that's going to be close to doing it. We're going to see here if
game clock down to 30 seconds, and now they're going to have to get a play off.
Yep, yeah. One snap.
All right. It is 3rd down and goal from the 6, and I imagine Nick Troha is going to take a knee here.
That's what it looks like to me. As they are
victory formation stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that'll end the ball game.
So Nick up there and ready to take the snap and bring this one to an end. And he does. That's going to do it. And your final score tonight from Moore Memorial Field in Warren, Pennsylvania is the Huntingdon Bearcats 56 and the Warren Dragons 9, 56-9. We'll be back to wrap up tonight's broadcast. Chad will rapidly try to calculate some stats. We'll tell you what he comes up with and remind you about what's coming up on the Air Network. That's all to come. Final once again, Bearcats 56 and Warren 9. More coming up after this on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon.
Call Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing for affordable heating, plumbing, and drain cleaning services in Huntingdon. Count on 12 years of insured excellent service when it comes to heating, plumbing, ventilation, and drain cleaning. Call Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing, available evenings and weekends at an affordable rate. Call 814-506-5128. That's 506-5128 for Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing in Huntingdon.
Sometimes facts are hard to face. Statistics show that obesity is a problem in the United States, and it's not getting any better. At Simone Family Chiropractic, we understand this problem. We also know that obesity leads to very serious health problems later in life. There is a way to cleanse your body and get back to optimum health. It is called the Doctor-Supervised ChiroThin System, and it teaches you how and what to eat in the real world. Call us at Simone Family Chiropractic at 814-643-2616, or stop in and see us at 613 Washington Street in Huntingdon, across from All American Pizza, or find us on Facebook.
The Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223 is the heart of the community, with loads of activities all year round. The Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223 proudly sponsors social events for members and their guests, plus you can enjoy their Friday food specials beginning at 5 p.m. every Friday. Saturday entertainment, plus check our website for other exciting upcoming events all year round. There's always something happening at the Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223, the heart of the community. Join us today.
All-American Pizza and Subs in downtown Huntingdon at 612 Washington Street is the home of the new Bearcat Sub. Enjoy mozzarella cheese with bacon, crispy chicken, sour cream and chive fries, and our top-selling wing flavor, Mactown Gold, all wrapped on a fresh homemade roll. Try the Bearcat plus our many other great pizzas and subs at All-American Pizza and Subs. Don't forget their new Pepsi flavor shots, too. All-American Pizza and Subs will donate $1 for every pizza sold during October, with proceeds going toward breast cancer research. Call 643-0222 for delivery. Open till 9, closed Mondays. D.C. Goodman & Sons and the Goodman family are committed and dedicated to excellence by supporting quality education and athletics for all youth of Huntingdon County. For over 3 generations, D.C. Goodman & Sons and their staff of quality tradesmen have provided excellent service in the installation of plumbing, mechanical and industrial piping, electrical, and fire sprinkler systems. Residential services are also available. D.C. Goodman & Sons and the Goodman family will continue to serve the community, and thank you for your support. The Goodman family wishes you the best to all area students in your pursuit of excellence.
Hi, I'm Andrew Finkel. You're listening to the Huntingdon Bearcats on the airnetwork.net.
Thank you, Mr. Finkel, who ended up being pretty busy come the end of the game. As the Bearcats get a number of people involved in the offense here tonight, all responded in a positive way. And, of course, that's going to be their final taste of action until 2 weeks as the Bearcats draw the bye in the postseason, and a great comeback performance after the 14-10 loss to Central 1 week ago as they win this one 56-9. So everything operating, firing on all cylinders. Chad States has a brief review of what this team was able to do tonight. Chad?
Yeah, and we'll look at the rushing stats for Huntingdon as they were able to rack up 300 yards rushing.
Yikes.
Right. Yikes is exactly right. Whenever we look at Andrew Hootie with 128 yards on the ground through 6 carries as the leading ground gainer for the Bearcats, followed by Drew Weglar's 9 carries for 78 yards. Finkel checking in next, 5 carries for 47. Zook, 2 carries for 24. Ian Border, 11 carries for 41 yards. Didn't play in the second half. But all told, 5 touchdowns scored by Huntingdon rushers tonight. When we look at passing for the Bearcats, 169 yards through the air. So Huntingdon looking at 469 yards of total offense. Andrew, 9 of 15. 0 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, and 140 yards through the air. So Andrew Hootie with 268 yards of total offense from the quarterback position. Really, Huntington's offensive star this evening. Nick Truhawk coming in and filling in admirably, as we had said before. 3 attempts, 2 completions, the 1 interception in the third quarter for 29 yards. Receiving Price, 3 catches for 55 yards. Andrew Miller having quite the game for himself. The sophomore receiver, 3 catches for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Wagner and Warner, 1 catch apiece, 10 yards for each one of those guys. Ben Briggs, the tight end. As Huntington started to use the tight end a little bit tonight. Ben Briggs, 1 catch for 7 yards. Alex Mikett, 1 catch for 33. And then Draven Zook, 1 catch for 0 yards here at the end of the fourth quarter. So Huntington racking up 469 yards of total offense. 278 for Warren as they kind of went away from the pass, Dave, in the second half whenever Capchella went down. Noah Myers, 11 carries, 149 yards, and that 1 touchdown, the lone touchdown for the Dragons as he became their offensive star here this evening, specifically in the second half. But again, 216 rushing yards for Warren, 62 through the air. Again, with Capchella going down with that concussion, that really limited their offense, and Huntington able to secure the 56-9 victory. They stayed under that 13.3 points given up per game. They preserved the third quarter, but more importantly, they preserved the top seed in the District 6 playoffs, as I had talked about earlier. They will have a bye week next week. They will play the winner of Juniata and Baldigo area. That game will be played in Mifflintown at Juniata next week. That's a 4-5 game. Central will be at home against Tyrone as they secure the 3 seed. They will play the Golden Eagles of Tyrone. And Forest Hills will wait for the winner of that one as they get a bye. So that's your District 6 setup. And, in conclusion of tonight's big win for the Bearcats.
By the way, just wanted to note something here at the end, as the last couple of guys off the field are Andrew Hootie carrying equipment, and now here comes Alex Mikett. And we have Jacob Wagner over there on the sideline and Andrew Finkel. They're talking to their folks, and I think one other. But interesting to note that both Hootie and Mikett, the guys that are helping to carry things off the field for the coaches. And that shows you what kind of guys they are. They may drive the bus on the way back.
Now, I will say that Andrew's dad is the head coach and Mikett's dad is the defensive coordinator, so they've got to listen to their coaches, but also their fathers to say, hey, you might want to pick that up too. But it's a total team effort out here that we've seen all season long by Huntington, including picking up the equipment at the end, because it's not just left for the kids that didn't play. These kids that put in a lot of minutes tonight are helping to clean up. So always good to see.
Yeah, cleaning up in more ways than one. 56-9, the final score. The Bearcats end the regular season with a mark of 9-1, and looking forward now to the postseason. Once again, you'll be able to hear the rebroadcast of this game coming up at 11 o'clock, and that'll be tonight, and then again tomorrow morning at 9 in the morning before the Pitt game, Pitt and Virginia at noon here on the airnetwork.net. A reminder that if you can, we certainly would appreciate your help as we're looking for contributions for playoff coverage. If you got $5 or $10, just send it our way and send it to Greg Banks, P.O. Box 56, Huntingdon, PA 16652. And we thank you for your support. We'll talk about you on the air in a positive way. And so
Yes.
that's what we really appreciate, the people who have been helping us out. And those of you who have been listening, too. As the season has gone on, we've heard from more and more folks that have been listening to the broadcast, and we appreciate your support that way. A couple of weeks till we're back on the air again, and there is Pee Wee Super Bowl action coming up tomorrow night at 7 with Jeff Speck, and that'll be live from Huntingdon War Vets Field, so you'll want to be tuned for that, as some of the future Bearcats will be on display in that Pee Wee Big Pee Wee game coming up. Once again, your final score tonight, it is the Bearcats 56 and Warren 9. For Chad States, Greg Banks, and all of our friends out there listening, this is Dave Shannon from War Memorial Field in Warren, PA, saying good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Huntingdon Bearcat Football on the Air Network and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon. Bearcat Football is presented by Huntingdon Moose Family Center 223, the heart of the community, and by D.C. Goodman & Sons and the Goodman family. Tonight's game also brought to you by Simone Family Chiropractic at 613 Washington Street in downtown Huntingdon, by Austin Smith Heating and Plumbing of Huntingdon, and by All American Pizza and Subs in downtown Huntingdon. Listen for rebroadcasts throughout the week of Bearcat Football, and join us again for the next game of Huntingdon Bearcat Football exclusively on the airnetwork.net and 94.1 FM in Huntingdon.